antidote. Gods convene, truth unseen. Demigods whisper, lost souls scream. Follow the path or drown in the stream. Zeus' wrath, a cruel dream. Strings of torment echo loud. Lost in sulfur, desperate, proud. Zeus watches from Olympus cloud. Rejected truth, their fates avowed.
Ladies and gentlemen, you know what we gotta do? Let's get this show started, alright? You know what that means, alright? We gotta get into it.
Yeah. I feel like I'm stuck in a cycle. It's like I'm stuck in time.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the show, alright? Once again, we are back. No lies detected. I saw that. Yeah, exactly. Alright, let's get it going, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning,
I'm like the Terminator scream.
Good morning, Dolphin. I see you out there.
It's like every week I
Hey,
gotta take out.
I see you. Let's go.
I'm on top of my game,
ahead of the class. You can tell that I made it. Look at my grass.
Cars in the garage.
You know what it is.
Full of gas.
I play the game so raw I won't finish last.
Sitting in my living room.
Let's go, ladies and gentlemen. Tap the screen and share the live.
The algorithm
Turned me to a maniac. Yeah.
Guess we going viral.
Let's go. I got all these numbers on my spreadsheet. Benjamin Franklin is my bestie. Let's go, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome.
They won't give me pause if they text me.
I say it with my chest cause I mean it.
Got a lot of confidence and I'm conceited.
Let's go.
Call me the master with a new whip. I'ma take off in a spaceship.
I'll tell you what, I haven't gone into Zeus's live in a couple of days. That shit was radical.
Very radical.
It was horrible. I'm like, Zeus has gone way off the rails.
Oh, come on.
It's like deja vu.
Zeus is going way off the rails, yeah, right.
It's like deja vu.
They never get it. All right, ladies and gentlemen. All right. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen.
It's deja vu when I'm running up.
All right, welcome to the show, ladies and gentlemen. Once again, we are back in the Thunderdome. It's so nice to see each and every single one of you, all right? And you know exactly why we are here. Oh, wow, you guys are so excited this morning. That's awesome. You know exactly why we are here, because we got a lot of work to do. And you know what? Because we still, you know what? No matter what's going on, we have to save this great country of ours from the evil clutches of this guy right here and his MAGA cult. And as far as I'm concerned, things have just went in an interesting direction, and the stakes are a lot higher now, all right? And so listen up, ladies and gentlemen, you know exactly what I do. But before we do that, let's take care of some housekeeping items. For those of you who do not know who I am, I go by the name Zeus, or as some like to say, Triple H. And why do they call me Triple H, ladies and gentlemen? Well, it's quite simple. The first H is because I'm honest, all right? I'm the most honest person on social media, all right? The second H is because I'm humble. I'm the most humble person on social media, all right? And then the last and the final H, ladies and gentlemen, is because you've guessed it, I am and will always remain the most handsome, right? Many of you know you can go find the music. I saw someone, they said, where's that song at? You just got to go to my artist name, and you will be able to find all the music, all right? Just 3 crossing, and there you go. All right. But you know what we got to do? We got to get into a lot of what's happening out here. All right. And so, ladies and gentlemen, you know what I've been saying for quite a while. We're heading towards what? A 1929 style depression, one like we have never, ever seen in our lifetime. It's actually going to be a lot worse than I thought. I actually do believe we are literally witnessing the demise of the United States as we know it at the hands of Donald J. Trump and his cult. So we got a lot of content to go through today, ladies and gentlemen, and I'll be honest with all of you Trump supporters this morning. I bring it every morning and I try to be a little more friendlier, right? Because I think, you know what, they say we should try to find some common ground, and I said, okay, I will try my best, all right? And I do believe that, but where we're at right now is it's a pretty serious situation. We're in uncharted territory, and things are very, very dangerous right now. Good morning to Keisha. And so what I want you Trump supporters to understand is this. Something very terrible has just happened in our country. And you know what I don't want to do? I don't want to let Donald Trump get control of the narrative, all right? Because when he's in control of the narrative, it's like when he's in control of everything, right? We have to spend a whole lot of time actually searching for what the real truth is. And so, no disrespect to the families impacted by this tragedy, and I don't want to make it political, right? Because we don't want to do that. But you know, the Democrats can't keep taking these lumps from the Republicans, all right? The Trump administration has came in and they've done a number of things, and we'll get into that. So I'll say this. If you are allergic to the truth, like my good friend, Brother Swervin once says, you're lactose intolerant, you might want to leave this live. All right. You really do. Because it's going to get very, very uncomfortable. It really is. But get this. You don't got to take my word for it. Listen to your leader.
If you're not happy here, then you can leave. As far as I'm concerned, if you hate our country, if you're not happy here, you can leave. If you're not happy in the U.S., if you're complaining all the time, very simply, you can leave. You can leave right now. Come back if you want. Don't come back. It's okay too. But if you're not happy, you can leave.
All right. So now if you're here at your own risk. You're here attacking. All right. I get it. So before we start talking about the disaster, the tragedy that unfolded in Washington, D.C. yesterday, I want to go back and kind of paint as much of this picture as I can. But if I leave something out, it doesn't mean it's not part of the story. But when the tragedy happened yesterday, a lot of people were, oh my gosh, this is serious. And it is serious. But what's even more serious, ladies and gentlemen, is how it happened. And I know they're going to do an investigation and get into the actual meat and potatoes about how it happened, but I couldn't help but think to myself yesterday when I went live, and all of you who are still here, you saw me. I had a Trump supporter in my box. I think his name was Lee. Remember Lee? And I said, Lee. And I think DJ was in here too. And DJ, you can probably speak for yourself, but you all heard me ask the question, is there anything Donald Trump can do to make you all stop supporting him? Remember that? I asked you, Trump, is there anything? And these people are Christians. And they said, oh, no, there's nothing Donald Trump can do. Really? Really? Oh, he's got a mandate. Not talking about his date with Elon either. Okay, so what has Donald Trump done? And I said this, to lower the prices of our groceries, our utility bill, cap our credit card interest at 10%, no tax on tips. What executive order has he done to actually take care of that kind of stuff? Oh, he hasn't done nothing. But what has he been spending all of his time doing besides golfing? Oh, well, he's going after the immigrants. He's getting rid of woke. Even though a lot of you benefit from woke. And I said, do you really think that's a good thing? He's freezing federal funding. Yeah, Zeus, because guess what we need to do? We need to go through all that money with a fine-tooth comb. This is what you all said to... And I started playing videos of people, their families being torn apart. This is wicked stuff. Donald Trump has been sowing wicked seeds all over this nation with the help of a lot of these supporters of his out here. And you all know you're helping him be wicked. So we left the live yesterday, once again, not meeting in the middle on a lot of things that are going on in this country. We still can't meet in the middle with MAGA about a thing. But they won't ever denounced Donald Trump for a single thing. So I said, well, you know what? It's going to have to get a lot worse. All right. And I just didn't know what it was. I've been talking about a 1929 style depression. But you know what happened yesterday? Donald Trump came out, and you could just see something was weird about him yesterday. He had to sign that Laken Riley bill, right? You remember this? He came out and he had to sign the Laken Riley bill. But when he came out, his aura, it just wasn't popping like it normally does. He didn't have that pep in his step. And we all remember what happened right before he came out. The White House, they rescinded the memo freezing federal money. This is after he froze the money for the grants and the loans from the federal government. All right. So you know what I said? I said, you know what? Thank you to the Democrats. Because somebody in government has to take this stuff serious. And obviously it's the Democrats that are helping him understand. Sir, you cutting off people water like that? You want people cutting off your money? No, then you should unpause that money. And so he did that, but he still just didn't seem right. You would have thought he's signing his first bill that this man would have been a lot happier. So let's get into, first of all, why he unfroze those federal funds. All right. Don't worry, ladies and gentlemen. This is a real story.
Insisted that this memo was straightforward, clear as day, not at all confusing. So why'd they rescind it?
Why'd they?
Well, obviously, they were getting a lot of feedback, Jake, here at the White House, not just from reports that it was confusing. They were getting calls directly from lawmakers and state officials, from people saying there were questions about hospitals and schools and nonprofits that did not know what that freeze that was put in place on Monday night meant for them. And a lot of questions about the impact that it was going to have and even what was affected. And just to give you a scope of how big this was on Monday night, it was so large that White House officials were still going through it to see everything that was affected, to be able to tell lawmakers and state officials and governors who were calling, no, this program isn't affected, or yes, this one is. And so it just really did prompt a lot of confusion from Capitol Hill, certainly a lot of pushback from Democrats who were saying that it was an illegal move on Donald Trump's part when he signed this, or when he signed these executive orders and then put this memo into place on Monday night out of the Office of Management and Budget. So it was that memo that was issued on Monday night that they rescinded earlier today in about a 2-sentence memo that was also issued by the Office of Management and Budget. But the White House is pointing to executive orders that Trump signed to argue that this is still in place. And while several of those do freeze some funding pools, it is not as big as the trillions of dollars that were frozen on Monday night. So the impact of this is still unclear. And it's also notable, Jake, because this is not a president who has backed down very much, if at all, since he took office just a little over a week ago.
Thank you.
This is a sign that they did understand the clarity that was needed when it came to this memo and the confusion over that. The question, after a federal judge temporarily blocked it yesterday afternoon, is what they do going forward and if they try to reinstitute these freezes on this federal.
Okay, so he rescinds the freezing because he understood what he was doing was directly harming the American people. A lot of you so-called Trump supporters, you don't understand how the federal government works. You don't understand how it directly leads to safety, security, and taking care of regular Americans on all sides of the aisle. You don't understand. So to get in there and to give this tyrant, this deranged lunatic, that much control, it just shows how much trouble we are in as a nation. So after all of this news broke out, he had to come out on national television and sign the Laken Riley Act. And we all watched this unfold, right? I watched this, and you would have thought this man would have just gotten up there and said, you know what? We got some legislation passed. This is the bipartisan work. Hopefully this provides some relief, some comfort to the families impacted, even though I don't like the bill, and then went on about his day. But what did Donald Trump do yesterday, right after the news came out that he had to rescind the executive order? He came out looking defeated, and he continued to attack the American people.
And we want to keep it that way. We want to keep it going.
He continues to attack the American people. How did he do it? You don't know it, but I'm going to explain it to you.
We want to keep it going. We've broken from decades of failed Washington policies and restored common sense and sanity to our government.
So, okay, does anyone feel like Washington is competent right now? Because as far as I'm concerned, we just saw evidence that there's a lot of incompetence.
We've unleashed American energy, and we've already achieved record low illegal immigration. As you see, there's nobody trying to get in. And that's what we've been waiting for a long time, and gotten woke ideologies out of our government and out of our military.
So he's gotten woke ideology out of our government and out of what? Our military. He just said it. So we see the wake up, we see the actual proof that it's his policies that have created these conditions right here. He's done his job getting rid of woke.
The water has now begun flowing in California as we continue to increase the flow in coming days. Nobody's seen anything like that, and I've also taken strong action to regain control of the Washington bureaucracy.
He said he's just taken strong action to gain or regain control of the Washington bureaucracy. See, what he's doing is he's laying the foundation for how this day is going to end. All right?
Just for clarification purposes, because it was incorrectly reported yesterday, we have informed the federal workforce, which they've looked to do for many years, that if they're working for the federal government, they must show up to the office on time and on schedule. We don't want them.
I thought we were signing the Lake and Riley Act, but what he's doing is he's continuing his attack on the American people. All right? He didn't say, I'm only making Democrats come back to work. He said, everybody. That includes you, MAGA. All right? And think about the harm this is causing.
We don't want them to work from home because, as everyone knows, most of the time they're not working, they're not very productive, and it's unfair to the millions of people in the United States.
Which is a completely false statement, because this guy golfs so much, but he would argue that he's actually doing a lot of work when he golfs. So I can't believe that, especially when, you know what, all these people who have been working remotely and stuff like that, we've never had any major issues, you know, that like we've had yesterday with these people working remotely. So where did he get that information from? Oh, yeah, it's another lie.
We're in fact working hard from job sites and not from their home. As federal employees, they must meet a high standard. They're representing our government. They're representing our country. If they don't agree by February 6th to show up back to work in their office, they will be terminated, and we will therefore be downscaling our government, which is something that the last 10 presidents have tried very hard to do but failed. Most of the people we're talking about have not been going to their federal offices in many, many years, from even before COVID. But they have...
It's funny how he said even before the pandemic, which is basically where he left off with this, on this path of destruction that he's on, all right? So listen up.
Less been paid. Some have worked, some haven't worked, and most of the studies say that some have just gone through the motions. We may ask these people to prove that they didn't have another job during their so-called employment with...
So he wants the employees to prove that they didn't have another job. Another attack. Sir, remember inflation was a big issue, and a lot of people need extra income. So if they were somehow fortunate enough to get another job, you're saying, you know what, you making a little extra money, that's too much money. I want you to suffer, all right? So you need to stick to these wages you've been getting and suffer, because this is what he wants you all to do, so that he can continue to rob the United States, all right? Rob the American people blind, all right? This is right there.
States of America, because if they did, that would be unlawful, as you understand.
Unlawful.
A lot of people are getting paychecks, but they're actually working other jobs, so they'll have to prove that.
How many of you all think Donald Trump is getting money besides the job he has as the president? Does anyone out there think Donald Trump is making any additional money besides his job as the president? Anyone else think he's doing that? Because he said that's illegal. Any of you think he's making money outside of his job as the president? Because, you know, he said making extra money outside of your normal job is illegal. Look at that. So it's funny he can do it, but you can't. He wants you all to suffer. And you know the little bit of money you're making, MAGA? He wants you to do something. He wants you to send it to him, too.
That they weren't. In any event, we're requiring them to show up to work or be terminated. We think a very substantial number of people will not show up to work, and therefore our government will get smaller and more efficient, and that's what we've been looking to do for many, many days.
Brianna, you're more than welcome to send Big Zeus a guest request. All right, Brianna? All right, and air out whatever issues you have. But what I'm not going to do, Brianna, is allow you to take control of this narrative right now. Right now, Brianna, we're heading towards a 1929 style depression, one like we've never seen. And as a matter of fact, it's a lot worse than that, because now we don't even have qualified people running things like, TSA, the FAA and stuff like that. Who's doing this? Who's running our government?
It's frankly. Thank you. In addition, there was a short-term pause or funding freeze.
Ladies and gentlemen, Brianna says she can't watch me anymore. Brianna, maybe you didn't hear my message at the top of the show.
If you're not happy here, then you can leave. As far as I'm concerned, if you hate our country...
That's you, Brianna.
If you're not happy here, you can leave. If you're not happy in the U.S., if you're complaining all the time...
That's Brianna in the chat.
Very simply, you can leave. You can leave right now.
I'm showing her who her daddy is.
Come back if you want. Don't come back. It's okay, too.
You know
but
what?
if you're not happy, you can leave.
Ladies and gentlemen, I didn't want to do it so soon, but why don't we warm up the lake of fire for Brianna in the chat? All right, Brianna? Yeah, leave. I don't care if you go straight to hell. All right? We're going to send Brianna straight to hell, ladies and gentlemen, because as I continue to show her who her daddy is, she somehow managed to find herself to be a victim on my platform. Brianna, may you rest in hell.
Silence, you MAGA demon.
Hey, Brianna, I got something to say to you.
You're either stupid or you hate the country.
Oh, my God.
On certain discretionary spending payments, such as
I'm going to
government
stop
grants.
this in a second. I'm going to stop it in a second. I'm going to stop it at the part where I said, all right, I've had enough of this guy.
Us to quickly look at the scams, dishonesty, waste, and abuse that's taken place in our government for too long. As was explicitly stated, this in no way affected Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid, or other entitlements that Americans depend on.
Which is a lie.
I've made abundantly clear from the very first day that I ran from office. That was a long time ago now. That's 2015. If you think about it, I announced in 2015 and we won in 2016. We did very well in 2020.
For those of you just tuning in, what we're doing is listening to Donald Trump sign the Lake and Riley Act, but at the same time, it's a little bit of a therapy session for him, and I don't know why he does this, but I think it's part of him brainwashing his cult into believing the lies. I think that's what he's doing.
We did really well just recently, and I'm restating right now to correct any confusion that the media is purposely and somehow, for whatever reason, created Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid have not been affected by any action we're taking in any way, shape, or form. We are merely looking at parts of the big bureaucracy where there has been tremendous waste and fraud and abuse.
Here we go.
In that process, we identified and stopped $50 million being sent to Gaza to buy condoms for Hamas.
Did you hear what he just said, DJ? DJ, I don't know if you caught that. Let's get that again, ladies and gentlemen.
In that process, we identified and stopped $50 million being sent to Gaza to buy condoms for Hamas. 50 million. And you know what's happened to them?
What?
They've used them as a method of making bombs. How about that?
Hey, DJ. Any Trump supporters, I gotta stop real quick. How do you take the rubbers, all right, and turn them into bomb? I mean, I gotta keep it clean. How do you do that? Anyone know? Put a 1 in the chat if you could come up here real quick and explain how this is happening. All right, again, I had to go back and hit play on this. DJ, I would love to hear what you...
To buy condoms for Hamas.
Okay.
50 million.
That's already crazy.
And you know what's happened to them?
What?
They've used them as a method of making bombs. How about that?
DJ? Any Trump supporters can explain that? This is the person that we have running the White House, ladies and gentlemen, all right? So we're going to stop it there because you obviously know that he's lying. And another thing that he said he was going to do was open up Guantanamo Bay, all right, to host up to 30,000 migrants. This is Donald Trump planting seeds of evil, wicked seeds. And you know what happens when you plant seeds and you fertilize them? You reap what you sow. That's right out of the survival scroll. Everyone on the planet knows that. So what happens shortly after that, ladies and gentlemen? It just goes to show you that we're in a situation now where we have an administration who is hell-bent on unraveling our government and taking out the experts. He's attacking immigrants. He's done a hiring freeze, all right, and we'll get a little more into that. Offering buyouts to federal employees. We just said freezing funds and then rescinding them. Attacking DEI, attacking woke. This is what the conditions are right now. And then we all saw it yesterday. W. Rick in the chat. The collision. We all saw it. And I do not want to disrespect the victims of this terrible incident. And so, we'll talk about that. But we all heard about the incident involving the American airline flight, as well as the Black Hawk helicopter or the military helicopter. And immediately I said, this right here, this is evidence of incompetence, because it never happened under President Biden. Did anything like this happen under President Biden? Let's get that out there right now. Did anything like this happen under President Biden? Yes or no? I got to ask the American people, because, all right, W, it's me, Jessica, in the chat. Nothing like this happened. You mean to tell me, wait a second. You mean to tell me Sleepy Joe didn't have anything like this? Not one thing? Sleepy Joe never had anything like this happen on his watch. So here we are. How many days are we in right now? 10 days into the Trump administration. This is on the 9th day after all of the executive orders, after he's gone on record and said he's gotten rid of the incompetence in federal government. He's gotten rid of the woke. He's gotten rid of the DEI. Now he's gotten full control of our government. And now you're telling me 9 days in, this incident happens. Ladies and gentlemen, you can go read it yourself. There was a warning that came from the House Committee on Transportation and Infrastructure. And the title of it was released January 22nd. So this is 2 days after Donald Trump took office. Ranking members Larson Cohen's statements on Trump's dangerous freeze of the air traffic control hiring. There is already a shortage of qualified people there. But you know what happened? You go into these agencies and I'm getting rid of woke. I'm going to make you do this and that. I'm going to freeze funding. All of a sudden, you just make things a lot harder to do in a situation that was already difficult. This is one of the most sensitive areas ever. And you go, well, who oversees the FAA? Who oversees the FAA, ladies and gentlemen? Because we have an incident that involves the FAA with the aircraft, and then we have the military helicopter. So who oversees these agencies? Do we all know? Do we all know? Do we all know? MAGA, do you know? You're also hell-bent on getting these people approved. Well, we know Pete Hegseth. He's the Secretary of Defense, right? Yeah, Department of Transportation. Who oversees these agencies, ladies and gentlemen? You got to know there's Pete Hegseth and Duffy. And guess where they both came from? Fox News. Congratulations. And they all report up to your Commander-in-Chief, Donald J. Trump, who has just acknowledged that he's taken full control of the United States government and gotten rid of all the issues. So the question now, ladies and gentlemen, is, do you think, and this is an honest question, and I think it's a fair question, MAGA, do you think that perhaps all of these executive orders that have been a direct attack on the American people may have had an impact at all on what happened last night? Do you? You all love to believe in things like the deep state. You all believe this is an act of, I got people that I know reaching out. Oh, Zeus, you can't see they're trying to set Donald Trump up. The deep state is still at it. They're stronger than they've ever. This is what you all believe. So if you still are crazy enough to believe in the deep state, you got to be a little crazy enough to believe that perhaps all of these executive orders that are going after qualified people in the name of getting rid of woke may have helped the conditions that we've all just saw happen yesterday with this terrible tragedy. I would love to know what Pete Hegseth really thinks about what happened yesterday on his watch. While he went after General Milley. You know he went after General Milley, right? You took away his security clearance and his security detail? Was that the most important thing, sir? On your agenda? Take his photos down in the Pentagon? That's so important. But you got these training activities happening out there. And you know what he said? Oh, prayers. He says we got prayers and we will investigate it. Ladies and gentlemen, this is what I said. We're heading towards a 1929 style depression, one like we've never seen before at the hands of Donald J. Trump and his incompetent leaders. He's incompetent too. All right. He's incompetent. And his people he's putting into these positions, they're very incompetent, all right? You don't take people from Fox News and put them into these positions and then expect things to continue to work as though they were working during the Biden administration. So last night, I was waiting to hear, and then I'm going to open up the box, and I'll talk to anybody that's willing to come up here and actually be honest, all right? Especially MAGA, because the question that I asked yesterday was, is there anything Donald Trump can do to make you stop supporting him? And the answer I got yesterday was no. So I know we're going to go through some tough times right now, MAGA, all right? Because you all refuse to open up your eyes and realize that this man right here is dangerous. Pete, a DUI hire. Exactly. W Sissy in the chat. So after this incident happened, I was expecting Donald Trump to get onto his social media platform and release a statement within hours. It took him a long time. I mean, a long time. It took him about the same amount of time it took him to react to what happened on January 6th. So this lets me know he clearly is not a good person when it comes to disasters. He lacks the ability to step up and, really show that he actually cares and is concerned. He lacks that ability. So what did he do? Well, we all know what Donald Trump does when he gets nervous and he gets scared. He goes to his social media platform, what I call Lie Central, and he tries to take control of the narrative. So let's read what our commander-in-chief, honestly, let's read what he said. And you all tell me if this makes you feel a little more comfortable now. Just tell me honestly, does this make you feel like, all right, this guy got it under control? The airplane was on a perfect and routine line of approach to the airport. The helicopter was going straight at the airplane for an extended period of time. It's a clear night, all caps. The lights on the plane were blazing. Why didn't the helicopter go up or down or turn? Why didn't the control tower tell the helicopter what to do instead of asking if they saw the plane? This is a bad situation that looks like it should have been prevented. Not good. And by the way, the hashtag not good is trending on X right now because a lot of people see right through this. Not good? That's all you got to say as the president of these United States, as the man that just took control of the government and got rid of woke and DEI? Hashtag not good? Then he goes on a few minutes later, and this is how a lot of us had to, go to bed last night. These were his last words last night. What a terrible night this has been. God bless you all. I don't know about you all, ladies and gentlemen, but it's going to be a rough 4 years. All right. So between Donald Trump and his administration, I think it's crystal clear that a lot of these people working in the government right now, especially at our highest levels and highest positions, they're completely incompetent. They don't know what they're doing. And this so-called mandate has been fully exposed for what it is. A recipe for disaster. 67 Americans lost their life last night because of this stuff. And I don't want to make it political. I do want to wait until the investigation fully comes out, honestly, to get the facts. But I just can't let it go that perhaps all of these ridiculous executive orders attacking Americans, especially the so-called Democrats, without really putting much thought into which federal agencies have a direct impact on the American people. You just go in there and sign a paper and go back to golfing. Eventually, things are going to catch up to you. So, ladies and gentlemen, what I want to do is we're going to have to take care of business like we do in the kingdom. Unfortunately, some folks got to go straight to hell. I am literally counting on you, Trump supporters, and I hate to say it, but at a certain point, y'all got to stop. You guys got to stop. You won the election. Now get to governing. And governing isn't attacking American people and getting rid of woke. You all benefit from woke and you don't even know it. I was saying you won't be woke, but you will be broke. But actually, it's a lot worse than that. Now we got airplanes falling out of the sky because you all are so scared to be woke. You're so scared to have some DEI in your life. This is some wicked stuff we got going on in this country. So, ladies and gentlemen, they hate when I do it, but I'm going to have to do it. We're going to have to send some folks straight to hell, and they know exactly who they are. If you're still supporting Donald Trump in this incompetence, you deserve to go straight to hell. I'm going to warm it up. For any of you who can't see what's going on right now, hopefully me sending you to hell will get your attention and make you wake up and see the real problems in this country. All right? And it actually starts with you, the man or the woman in the mirror. And you could get mad about all the genders out there. That's a terrible excuse for you not doing this work. Ladies and gentlemen, let's give them a huge, huge round of boos and shame.
Silence, you MAGA demon.
I know some of you are still triggered out there. Again, you don't have to be on this show and listening to what we're doing over here. This is real work getting done, all right? And like I said,
If you're not happy here, then you can leave. As far as I'm concerned, if you hate our country, if you're not happy here, you can leave. If you're not happy in the U.S., if you're complaining all the time, very simply, you can leave. You can leave right now. Come back if you want. Don't come back. It's okay too. But if you're not happy, you can leave.
I'm going to ask the question again. I'm going to open up the box. Let's open up the box and start having some real honest conversations. The question I want every single one of you Trump supporters to be able to clearly articulate and answer, is there anything Donald Trump could do to stop you from supporting him? That's the question right now. How much further do we need to go? How many more Americans need to lose their lives because of this incompetence? Why are you so scared of being woke? Why are you so scared of DEI? It seems like it stopped a lot of things from happening while Biden was in office, right? Because nothing like this ever happened. So please spare me the outrage. All right. Let's see, ladies and gentlemen. Let's see who do we got in the box. All right, put a 1 in the chat if you want to be. If you're a Trump supporter, put a 1 in the chat. I'll bring you right on up here, and we'll help you get to the bottom of what's going on right now. All right, but you got to be willing to be honest. All right. All right, any Trump supporters out there, put a 1 in the chat. I'll bring my good friend Nutty up. All right, Nutty, please welcome. How you doing, brother?
So I'm doing well, and good morning to you and to.
Good morning.
I agree. We're definitely heart goes out to those family members and to their communities at large. But it's not making it political when you're speaking truth.
Right.
And again, and I'm very tempered in my words right now because I don't want to make this political. But this is why deregulation is never a good thing. Because when deregulation happens, mistakes are more prone to happen.
That part.
I need a president that will give us something other than why didn't it go up? Why didn't it go down?
That part. Talk to them. Get these people to see the truth, Nutty. They know it. They know what you're saying is true.
Zeus,
Yeah.
I'm angry at the elementary mindset of the squirrel we have sitting in the White House.
That's a nice way to put it. You're being very kind.
Like, like we've lost lives.
Thank you.
But then again, their life didn't matter, because if the lives of almost 300,000 people didn't matter because of a pandemic that you mismanaged, then what's 67? What's 67?
Exactly. Exactly.
Do you all see where we are as a nation? This is where we are. This is where we are.
W Nutty in the chat. W Nutty in the chat. 9 days. 9 days, Nutty. And that's all it took to get us to this point. Isn't that something?
I wanted to add something that you said about Duffy.
Mm-hmm.
So not only I didn't know Duffy was part of Fox News, but
Yeah.
but he do you remember he was part of MTV's Real World?
I remember.
Yeah.
I looked him up. I looked some of his background, these guys, and I said, wow, it's like you literally went to Fox News and brought all these people in the government and ignored the qualification stuff that needs to take place. It's the most bizarre situation I've ever seen.
It is very bizarre. And another thing. So I am still sitting in a holding pattern. The last so President Biden giving deference to the new administration coming in.
Mm-hmm.
President Biden stopped giving orders for certain governmental agencies that close to an inauguration.
Right.
And so I'm still stuck on a perpetual standby
Wow.
for the wildfires in California.
Okay.
So when FEMA is not responding,
Because he
I
said
want
he's going to cut funding for FEMA. Isn't he
Yes,
talking
I want-
about that?
yes, I want people to understand this.
Sad.
When FEMA is not responding to a crisis, who does it hurt, y'all? The very people that sitting in your lives, Zeus.
Exactly.
Talking about yay Trump, that actually live in California, that may even be affected by what's going on in California. The very people, they're too ignorant to understand that it affects them. You want to complain, you want to say that he's cutting the waste and blah 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 blah.
Tell
And
him, Nutty.
notice, no one has ever said, until Donald Trump said it, no one has ever said states should be in charge of their own disasters. No one has ever said that, because we are the United States of America.
W Nutty in the chat. Preach it, Nutty. Go ahead. Tell him.
Why is it that somebody in California cannot get the same help that we gave people down in Florida? That we gave this help to the same people in North Carolina, in South Carolina, in South Dakota, North Dakota.
Amen.
Why is it that we're talking about, oh, if California wants help, then they need to conform to what I think they should be doing?
We will not. Tell him, Nutty. We
Why
don't need to
is
do
it
that.
That these people, you can support Donald Trump all you want.
Do it.
You need to have some semblance of patriotism.
That part.
Patriotism is not sucking someone's big toe. And
Oh.
you know what I wanted to say? I had to temper
Kept it clean. Wow. You're really dark, bro.
It's saying, I don't agree with your politics.
Yeah.
I may not even like you. But
Yeah.
again, I said this yesterday in your live, Zeus. It's
Yeah.
the humanity of it all.
Thank you.
Those people in California that need the federal government,
Amen.
they're not getting the help. So listen.
Talk
I
to
know
him.
I know people have issues with Gavin Newsom, whatever.
Yeah.
That's not my fight,
Right.
because I'm not a California resident. So I'm not going to get into that fight. But if I were Gavin Newsom,
Uh-huh.
I would be a petty MFer.
Nutty.
I
Wow.
would be a petty MFer.
Why?
I would, and because listen, the state of California, y'all have a Democratic House and a Democratic Senate,
Let's go.
and you have a Democratic governor.
Amen.
I would
Amen.
be petty AF. I would get with my legislature, and I would stop sending all funds to the federal government.
Hey.
Mr. Squirrel in Chief, if you want the state of California to fix and be there for its own disasters, okay, gotcha. Message heard.
Thank you.
So, State House, State Senate, let's go.
Amen.
Let's take care of our people.
Tell
the
them,
money
Nutty.
that we would normally send to the federal government, we're going to keep it, and we're going to help the people of our state because we know the facts. The fact is the state of California contributes more than the next 15 red states.
W Nutty in the chat. Preach. He's preaching.
Combined. Listen, that's the key word. Combined.
Thank you.
They contribute more. They put in more than they receive from the federal government.
But Nutty, we got DEI and woke stuff happening out
you
here.
know what? I listen. I have now become a Trump supporter.
Really?
I am a Trump supporter.
Really?
I support Donald Trump in everything. Listen, I need you to hear me speaking every syllable.
I hear it.
I support Donald Trump in everything he wants to do.
Wow.
He wants to deport. I support it. He wants to get rid of DEI. I support it. He wants to put criminals back out into the streets. I support it.
You mean the hostages? Or
I am a Trump supporter from here on, henceto, now, and forever. I am a Trump supporter.
Lord.
I support every negative thing he's doing to you fools. Because that's the only way you are going to learn. You're going to learn because you're going to be like that one woman back when he first got into the White House.
Talk to him.
First time when she was like, President Trump. That's what you're going to be like.
Thank you.
Because my grandmama used to say, you don't believe fat meat is what?
Greasy. We knew it was coming.
So I now support it.
Yeah.
I am now your biggest fan, Trump.
Wow, Nutty.
That picture that's going over on TikTok where the migrant is being arrested, but he has a shirt on that says he's a Trump supporter.
Oh, I've seen that. Yeah.
I support it.
All right, there you go. If you want to be a fool, go for it. Have at it. If you like it, I love it. I get it, Nutty.
So in closing,
go ahead. Woo.
Because my heart is grieved this morning because of these. Because this didn't it was an accident.
Yeah.
And we know from what we understand right now, we know that the helicopter was flying too high for that airspace.
Correct.
And that's an unfortunate accident.
Yeah.
But here's the thing, air traffic control. How could you think pausing all the federal funds when we're already strained at the most sensitive positions that we need people to be in?
Thank you.
How do you think it's going to play out, MAGA? Unfortunately, there's more to come. Because he is now the president.
That part.
And his pen and his rhetoric and his House and his Senate and his Supreme Court, they're going to do his bidding. When they're going to do his bidding, it affects all of us. So you think you won? You ain't won nothing. We all have lost.
Thank you. Thank you, Nutty. And that's the part I'm trying to help, and you're helping me as well. Help these knucklehead, these knuckle draggers understand.
We've all lost, Zeus. It's been 10 days since this tyrant has been in the White House. And God knows it feels like it's been 3 years.
That part.
10 freaking days. And chaos has ensued.
Medicaid website goes down, right? We had the website going down. We have flights going down. We got funds being frozen. Nonprofits scrambling because they're worried about maybe having to close up shop. I mean, what's going on, MAGA?
And I'm like praying, God, put me in a time machine. Can you can you transport me beyond the 4 years that we got to put up with this man? Because put me in the recovery of the Trump era. Because everything that this man is doing, even if he kills over and unalives right now, the effects that he's having on our government is going to last for at least the next 20 to 25 years.
This is sick.
And you all think you all wanted to castigate and degenerate Joe Biden because he stuttered. Do y'all remember the normalcy we had in the White House just 2 months ago? We had a president that was empathetic, that was caring, that was sympathetic, that was intelligent.
He's talking about President Biden.
That could form a sentence, a coherent sentence. Yes, maybe he had a stutter and maybe he had to recollect his thoughts, but he wasn't dangerous. We had a vice president who should have been president, who was highly qualified to be president. But you people who didn't vote, I'm not even talking to MAGA right now, but you people who did not get out and vote, you caused Kamala not to be sitting in this White House right now. You caused this trash that we have going on in the United States. It's your fault because you knew the warning signs. You did not heed the warning sign. The word, see, I'm channeling my inner Takesha right now.
Uh-oh.
The scripture says warning comes before what? Destruction.
And
y'all was warned. Again, I'm not talking to MAGA because MAGA's gonna MAGA. I'm talking to the people who just didn't get out and vote and said, my vote doesn't matter.
Or
my vote, I live in the state of California and it's going to go blue anyway. It doesn't matter. It matters.
Or what about the protest vote?
I ain't got nothing. Zeus, you tell me to keep it clean. That is your mantra on the show, is to keep it clean.
Okay,
if
fair
I talk
enough.
about that, I won't be able to control my cleanness.
Okay, all right. I don't want you to even go that far, Nutty. All right, I don't do it.
Because there's a special place in hell for those people. They're going to be right there along with MAGA, bootlicking, because of their stupidity. What's happening in Gaza right now? But you wanted to sit your nasty tails at home because of a protest vote. Where did that get you? Where did it get you? What did it get you for your family members? What did it get you? You ignorant fools.
Ooh, whoo. Nutty.
You cannot take care of somebody else's land when our own land is on fire. The United States of America is a cluster F. I'm getting heated, so I'm getting out of here.
All right. W Nutty in the chat. That right there. You just gotta when people get to that point sometimes, you just gotta let them really get it off their chest, because I think we all know Nutty was speaking for a lot of people, ladies and gentlemen. All right. And he brought up something very important, all right, which is this.
In many ways, Donald Trump is an unserious man.
Remember this?
But the consequences of putting Donald Trump back in the White House are extremely serious. Consider not only the chaos and calamity when he was in office, but also the gravity of what has happened since he lost the last election. Donald Trump tried to throw away your votes. When he failed, he sent an armed mob to the United States Capitol, where they assaulted law enforcement officers. When politicians in his own party begged him to call off the mob and send help, he did the opposite. He fanned the flames. And now, for an entirely different set of crimes, he was found guilty of fraud by a jury of everyday Americans and separately found liable for committing sexual abuse. And consider what he intends to do if we give him power again. Consider his explicit intent to set free violent extremists who assaulted those law enforcement officers at the Capitol. His explicit intent to jail journalists, political opponents, and anyone he sees as the enemy. His explicit intent to deploy our active duty military against our own citizens. Consider the power he will have, especially after the United States Supreme Court just ruled that he would be immune from criminal prosecution. Just imagine Donald Trump with no guardrails.
You hear that? Just imagine him with no guardrails. Congratulations. This is what we got going on in the United States, ladies and gentlemen. This is some sick stuff, ladies and gentlemen. Some sick stuff. Alrighty then. Let's move it along. Look at that. Good morning, Ange. How are you doing, Ange?
I'm okay. I thought I turned my TV down. Hold on 1 second. Cash Patel is on, so I was watching that loser momentarily. Can I go off teleprompter for a moment?
Oh, yes, absolutely. Go for it. Jess in the chat. Yeah.
Oh, thank you, Jessica. Why don't this ever work for me? Okay. Gosh dang it. Okay. Here we go. This guy here. Matthew Huddle. This is the guy that was unalived. Probably
Right.
a lot of people know that, but I was looking into him.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know he had already gone to prison for 6 months for beating his child?
Really?
Yes, for beating his child so badly that the back of his neck, all the way down to his bottom, was completely bruised, and the child could not even sit down. This is what they let free, okay? And then there are, I think there are 5 others that have already been arrested. So this kind of goes along with what Kamala Harris had said. She called it, you guys. She freaking called it. She said it right there. Everything she said he would do, he has done. In how many days? How many days has it been? 10? I don't know. 10 days. This is what he has done, guys.
He's
10
unleashed carnage.
days.
He's unleashed carnage on the American people, Ange.
4 years of this. Literally beat his child. I'm sorry, I probably should say it another way. But anyway, the other thing I wanted to talk about was taking Meals on Wheels and Head Start away. Programs like that. I am very familiar with those programs. My mom was a Head Start site manager for 38 years.
Wow. Congratulations to your mom. That's real work. That's real patriotism.
8 years, and 2 times, but she almost lost her life because she helped women who were being domestic violence situation, and their husbands found out that my mom was the one to help them get the resources to get away. So she almost lost her.
Wow.
Our car was beat with a baseball bat by one of these people, and they want to get rid of programs. It doesn't just educate children.
Tell them, Ange.
They provide so many sources. You know, kids probably wouldn't even be getting fed with programs like this. And to Meals on Wheels, another one I'm familiar with. My dad did Meals on Wheels. He provided the food to these people till the day he unalived.
Wow. Wow. W. Ange in the chat. Tell them, Ange.
And it wasn't just delivering meals. These people are lonely. They're lonely.
Talk to him.
And my dad would definitely, he loved it. He would even take my children when they were younger sometimes.
Yeah.
So that these people, they wanted to see these elder people, they wanted to talk to little children. And this man wants to take things away. Kamala Harris was for the people.
Amen. Amen. She's telling the truth. And they don't like it when you tell the truth, but please keep on letting these people know.
That's about all I got, because she was for the people.
Thank you.
Actually, you know what? One more thing. People don't like to talk about it. But people.
W, Tara.
Yes, W, Tara, for everybody. W, everybody.
Yes.
Everybody down there except MAGA. W to all of you for being here.
Thank you.
The pro-Palestine people that either didn't vote or voted for Trump, I hold you accountable for some of this. I am just going to say it. You were a one-issue voter. That means you voted with privilege. And you were warned what he was going to do. And he's doing it. He wants to move the people, 1 million, to Egypt and I don't know where else. And then basically make that place into a dang parking lot. And he told you that. And you didn't listen.
That part. Well.
Get blood pressure up like Nutty did. Nutty, I love you. But
he was working up. Nutty was worked up, but you know what? You're fired up too.
Hey, we all gotta get the truth out there. And this kingdom will allow us to get that truth out there. So I thank you very much. And with
You're welcome.
I'm going to drop.
All righty then, ladies and gentlemen. W's in the chat for Ange. No lies detected. See, what we got going on here, ladies and gentlemen, is it's clear to a lot of us why we are in this situation just 10 days into the Trump administration. It's this level of incompetence, and it's also some laziness that took place that got us where we're at right now. And for those of you who think this is already a lot, you have no idea what we're heading towards for the next 4 years. Let me bring up my good friend, Takesha. W's in the chat for Takesha. Hi, Takesha. How are you doing?
Good morning, Zeus. How are you?
I'm all right. I am all right. We got MAGA not wanting to come up here for some strange reason.
Let me school MAGA right quick.
Uh-oh.
My people perish for lack of knowledge because they reject knowledge.
Ooh.
And he shall fool the very elect of them.
Who?
Donald Trump is making a fool out of y'all.
Ooh.
Because y'all don't want no knowledge. Y'all not trying to understand. You're not reading to try to educate yourself.
Nope.
You're just going off every word says like the stench that comes from the pew, falling behind the skunk, trying to get some love from a man who ain't studying you. Yesterday, Zeus, do you recall me saying that these people have taken the Lord off their throne and put Trump on it?
Yeah.
It was an example. What was that guy named yesterday that said there's nothing Trump could do?
Lee. His name was Lee. I said Lee. Is there anything Trump could do? Huh?
What was the other one?
You mean DJ?
No, the one. I guess
it was Lee.
The one that got mad. The one that got mad at the bishop.
Yeah, that was Lee.
Yeah. Let me say this, Zeus.
Go ahead.
That was a prime example. Mm-hmm. You don't want the word of God to go out in God's house.
Amen. Talk to him.
So you can spare Trump's feelings. That's throwing God off his throne. Send Trump on there.
Amen. Amen. W for Takesha. Tell him.
Shame on you for calling yourself a Christian. When you mad that in the house of God, his word went out and hurt Trump's feelings, and you gonna say that was not the time in God's house? His word, you're pitiful.
Amen.
Don't you go sit in nobody else's church. Don't you open up your Bible. Don't put on no fake cross.
Let's go.
You stay at home and you worship Donald Trump and you sit off for one of his Bibles.
Amen. Y'all better show Takesha some love dropping this truth off like this.
Dude,
yeah.
I keep telling y'all, y'all ain't seen nothing yet. I told y'all destruction is coming.
Amen.
Y'all
right.
gonna pay for putting this wannabe God back in power.
Wow.
Y'all ain't seen nothing yet.
Yeah.
It's just now starting.
Yeah.
So I want y'all to buckle up.
Mm-hmm.
Scrap down.
Amen.
Cause y'all finna be in for the ride of your life. But it ain't gonna be a good ride, baby.
It sure ain't. It sure ain't.
The
67.
lion,
Go for it.
listen, he lying, and y'all bind.
Wow.
Get you some common sense. Pray that
Amen.
stronghold be torn down.
Tell him,
Cause
Takesha.
y'all ain't seen nothing yet.
Oh, wait
Y'all
a
ain't
second.
seen nothing.
Oh, wait a second. Someone just said, hold on, let me see. I didn't want to catch this. George 2025, lady, we're not listening to you. You can talk all you want. That's your opinion. George, why don't you come on up here and talk to us real quick?
Hold on, Zeus. Apparently you're listening if you responded.
Amen. It was easy.
How you gonna respond if you ain't listening? See how ignorant they are?
Yeah.
You just proved to me it's ignorant.
George, congratulations. You played yourself. Yeah,
You ain't
wow.
listening, but you responding to me. Yeah, that make a whole lot of sense to
You
me.
got him triggered. You had him triggered. He really took time, Takesha, out of his morning to tell us that, like, he had something really important and serious to say.
Hey, Zeus, when the word of God go forth, that demon, it disturbed that demon.
Oh,
so yeah, that demon in him is disturbed.
Yep. Amen.
Yeah.
Amen.
I know I
Amen.
disturbed your demon, George. I know your demon over there on fire. I know your demon twisting and turning spin.
That part. George.
Yeah.
George is
Go
crying
get
this
saved.
morning. Hey, he's not hungry anymore,
Go find
Takesha.
salvation. Get on your knees for the Lord instead of Trump. Go on, try to get yourself together, George. Yeah, do that.
George! Takesha. Nobody's in the chat for Takesha. Oh my God, I needed to laugh this morning, George, and you made quite the joke this morning because no one really cares about you. He thinks Donald Trump cares about him.
We're not listening to you, but I'm fun at what you're saying. I ain't listening. Yeah, I know.
Tell him.
Bless your psychotic heart.
Oh, he said, you see, you playing with Satan and we're playing with Jesus. Could you help him out with that, Takesha? Do you think that's true what he said?
He don't even know. He don't even know Jesus. That's why he responded.
George, come on, George, zip it. Come on.
He don't even know the Lord. If I ask him to quote one scripture, it'll be Jesus will, because that's all he know. And he won't even be able to tell you right.
W in the chat for Takesha. Yeah, that's right. That's right.
They better find salvation.
Thank you.
And quit playing so much.
Thank you.
Take that hate out their heart.
Thank
and
you.
that cotton out their ears.
That part.
And try to get a good word from the Lord.
That part.
That's what they better do, Zeus.
That part.
But I'm going to go on, Zeus, because you know I'll go put my priestly robe on in my oil and anoint this live and get rid of these demons.
Amen. Amen. I know what you're talking about. And we might need you to do that. I'm going to try to see if we can get George to come up here and maybe me and him can have a nice little one-on-one. Because I think you got him scared. Maybe he'll come up, once you go down.
Well, let me gorilla glue myself to the live in case I got to come back.
Okay, all right. Listen, ladies and gentlemen, W Takesha in the chat. No lies detected. All right, George. Go ahead, George. Identify yourself in the chat. And what I'll do, George, it'll just be you and I one-on-one. And you can get up here and get it off your chest, whatever that is. But if you start lying and stuff like that, George, we're going to call you out. So, George, where are you at? Come on up here, bro. You said, and I think it's George because I would hate to think it's Jorge, all right? It could be Jorge, all right? And if it's Jorge, I understand why you want to stay in the chat. But, George, come on in the box, all right? There you go right there, George. I just sent you a guest request. Come on up here and defend yourself or your dear leader, because we know you don't have a spine, George. Come on up here, George, little George. All right, we want to really get this off. We want to give you the opportunity of a lifetime. All right, we're going to give you an opportunity, George, to defend yourself or your dear leader. All right, ladies and gentlemen. So as you can see, George clearly is a Russian bot. He's a liar. All right. And he comes into my live because he knows that his days on this app, no one's going to believe him anymore because he's been exposed for what he is. So what we'll do is we'll take care of business. George, I'm going to send you straight to hell. All right. And mods, feel free to put George in a straitjacket, because what we don't want to do is allow him to pollute our comment section, right? Thank you, Tara. Ladies and gentlemen, George, this one's for you, big baby.
Silence, you MAGA demon.
Hey George, I got something to say to you, all right? And maybe you should let this roll around in your brain for a quick second, because this is honestly what I think of you.
You're either stupid or you hate the country.
Which one is it, George?
You're either stupid or you hate the country.
W. Rick in the chat. All right, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, look at that. We got a special guest, Santana Jones. Welcome, brother. My man. Talk to him. Hey, how you doing?
Listen, well, it kind of popped up. I wanted to share something real quick, and then I'll share thoughts. So I'll share this first. I don't know if you can see that.
Trump order crackdown on anti-Semitism and could deport foreign student protesters.
So this goes back to what you guys were speaking on, as far as like the people that protest voted, right? The
Yeah.
ones that didn't actually want to vote for Kamala Harris because they couldn't vote for Kamala Harris because they were, somewhat they were like, oh, what's happening in Gaza and the entire
Yeah.
everything that was happening. So literally, the
Mm-hmm.
Trump administration is now targeting you. They're targeting you because you didn't vote. You gave them power. You quote unquote protest vote, and now the FAFO is even worse than you expected.
Yep.
He's not just targeting those people that were his quote unquote enemies. They're targeting everyone. Everyone is being affected.
That part.
And the one thing that I'll say about Donald Trump and
Mm-hmm.
the Trump administration is they told us they were going to do all of this.
They did.
Zeus, they didn't lie.
Nope.
They flat out said this is what we're going to do, and they're doing all of it. And now people are surprised.
Yep. And you know what? I talk to people and they say, well, he's a liar. I don't think he's going to do all of that. So I think a good chunk of them were banking on the fact that he was a liar and that he wouldn't do this stuff. Would you speak on that and tell in terms of how reckless would you say that was?
Yeah, it's interesting, Zeus, because I had the same conversation with multiple people, and my question is why wouldn't you believe the words that are coming out of his mouth? Like I don't get that.
Yeah.
I said it, they clearly articulated a plan. Like the Project 2025 was the plan, and they said, "Oh, that's not the plan." I said, "Okay, well, he's been in bed with the Heritage Foundation. The Heritage Foundation helped get him elected the first time around,
That
and
part.
he gave them what they wanted. He
That
packed the
part.
court and overturned Roe.
Yep.
That was a deal with the devil."
Yep.
And they've initiated this 900 plus page plan with very smart people, and they've actually completely had these people around him. Why wouldn't you believe it? And so then even when they got past that, they said, well, I don't think he's going to do all of this. I don't think he can do all of this. Well,
Wow.
the simple fact of the matter is the way that our government works, the way that our laws work, and I tell people this all the time, when an executive order is signed, right?
Mm-hmm.
And even if it is, the courts say, oh, it's unconstitutional and it's struck down.
Yeah.
Well, the structure of our norms is what holds us to those things where we actually remove it. If Donald Trump puts enough people in place, enough loyalists in place, he has Cash Patel that he's trying to confirm. He
Yep.
has what's the AG Pam Bondi.
Yep.
Like, if he has enough loyalists in place,
Mm-hmm.
those, even if the court says, oh, it's unconstitutional or you can't do that,
Yeah.
doesn't matter.
Nope.
Doesn't the norms won't hold.
Thank
And
you.
people they act like they don't understand that.
Yeah. Tell them, Santana. Ladies and gentlemen, W. Santana Jones. Do you think it is that they don't understand it, or do you think there's also a certain number of people who just flat out don't care until all of a sudden, disaster strikes, sort of like what happened yesterday, right? What do you think about this? Because I can't get a Trump supporter to answer the simple question: what does this man got to do to make you stop supporting and stop worshiping him?
Well, Zeus, and this is what I was going to say when I first came up here. I didn't realize I already had the background on, but the reason why you're having such a hard time with getting anyone up is because they can't defend them. They can't defend them. Like I've spoken with multiple Trump supporters over the
Yeah.
last 10 days,
Yeah.
and they've slowly started to get to the point where they're like, Oh, I love it. Oh, I love it. Oh, well, we got to give him. Oh, I don't know. Well, oh, I
Mm.
kind of didn't like that. Well,
Yeah.
oh, I don't. And now they're
Mm.
getting to the point where they're like, I can't really defend this anymore.
Mm. Yeah.
I'll tell you this, Zeus. Like this is the difference between. And you made the point. Like they talked about Joe Biden, and
Yeah.
he might actually get lost for words or move a little slow or whatever. But
Sleepy Joe.
you see what happened last night. Like literally, first of all, it freaked me out because I saw the news while I was on a flight. So
Wow.
I
Oh.
was actually in the air when I saw
Yeah.
it,
Yeah,
and I
that's
was
some
like,
scary
okay,
stuff. Yeah.
yeah. But the thing that like, I landed and I started checking all the socials, and Donald Trump's reply. His reply is what stuck out to me. I don't know if
Right.
you got a chance to see
We
that.
we read it, but go ahead
Oh,
and speak to him because to me, I was kind of flabbergasted. I said, this is it. This is all you have to say." It sounded like he
the
just soiled his diaper and went to sleep.
the simple fact of the matter is that, and I've said this to multiple people before, the office of the presidency has a responsibility. When I'm live and I do my
Mm-hmm.
lives, there's certain things that I won't say or do, no matter
Right.
how I personally feel. I won't
Correct.
say or do because I feel an obligation and responsibility to not incite violence or fear
Right.
or panic or whatever.
Right.
And for Donald Trump to not only put that statement out, but to point fingers
Mm.
and to not comfort the American people, to not actually say, hey, I'm your leader. Like he had a problem with this his first time around,
Yeah.
where he felt like he was the president for red states
Mm.
instead of being the president for the United States of
That
America. And
part.
when you have a travesty like this, you have to show empathy, you have to show care, you have to actually rally people together. And he doesn't have the ability to do it, or he just doesn't care to do it. One of the two.
That's what I said too when I saw that. That's
Yeah.
what I saw that. I mean, but I think we're heading towards darker times, honestly. I don't think this is that we've gotten to the point where these people will get out of the cult just yet, all right? Even though 67 Americans just lost their life. As far as I'm concerned, and it could be linked to these executive orders and just utter incompetence, right? That's how I feel about it.
Yeah, well, and I'll say this, Zeus. I don't know how much of a history buff you are, but I'm a bit of a history buff.
Oh, okay.
And I took 4 years of German. I studied German history very
Mm-hmm.
closely. And when we talk about 1933 Germany, I make a comparison between 1933 Germany and 2025
Mm-hmm.
United States of America for multiple facets, right? Whether it's the coup that Hitler tried
Yeah.
to do, whether it's the fact that they targeted the media, which Donald Trump is doing the same thing.
Yeah.
But one big thing that they did
What's that?
was a consolidation of power, right? And so the Republican Party has the House, the Senate, they have the Supreme Court, but even more than that, the
What's that?
executive orders that they pass, the legislation that they're trying to pass
Mm-hmm.
is going to consolidate power even more under the presidency, which again, Zeus, I'm sure you have, but I read Project 2025.
Yeah.
I know that specifically this is what they want to do. They wanted to gut the actual federal government of lifetime employees and people who are actually, they wanted to gut that and consolidate power under the presidency.
Yep.
It's the same thing they did in Germany.
No lies
That-
detected. And,
uh,
and and and
they,
it's no coincidence that you see Elon out there doing that signal thing that he did.
mhm.
There's no coincidence. All
I tell
right.
you what,
Cause
when you have Russians and Germans agreeing on something,
and,
you
and,
might
and,
want to
and
listen.
for the record, what are the Russians and the Germans agreeing on? One, if you don't mind.
They 100% that believe that old Leon, as Trump called him, Leon Musk is a
Yeah.
Schnazi, and they
Apartheid
understood
Clyde.
what he did.
Yeah, apartheid Clyde is what they call him too. But yeah, yeah. So and it's clear and obvious, MAGA. All right, you don't just wake up and accidentally have these moments. And you know what I heard yesterday? The Tesla shareholders are asking Elon to provide a little more information about all of this behavior that he's been doing
Mhm.
recently, because this is going to have a serious impact on his company. They're saying, you know what? You're spending way too much time focusing on everything other than this company. So this is
Well, so I'll give you this as well. Tesla stocks have dropped. I mean, like completely dropped in Europe. Again, in Europe, you can't do that. Like that's illegal in Europe. You will go to jail for doing
yep.
that. They don't play those games, and so the stock has completely dropped. And then on top of that, you have Elon, who is so I don't know if you know, but there's a right wing German power that's political power that's
The
rising.
AFG, right?
Yep. And Elon is backing them, and
Mm-hmm.
it's a whole thing. It's
Yep.
a whole thing. So, like,
Yep. But
and I'm
but
sorry,
I heard the
MAGA
German
might call me.
people.
You're right. I misspoke when I said German. The German. I'm sorry, not the stock, but the sales, not the
Okay.
stock, the sales of Tesla. I apologize. Thank you for correcting me, MAGA Mike.
All right.
The sales of Tesla.
We want to get it right over here. But MAGA Mike, with a name like that, we're going to question everything you say. All right.
Yeah,
Why would you name
yeah,
yourself
yeah.
MAGA Mike?
But I mean, it's a whole thing, and I mean, we're just at the point where I saw someone say, "Well, where are all the Democratic leaders? Where are the stalwarts within the Democratic Party?" The
Mm-hmm.
simple fact of the matter is, one, I mean, I don't know if you saw the dog and pony show that Chuck Schumer did or whatever,
Yeah.
or even the statement that Hakeem Jeffries put out. I'm sorry, Zeus. I'm tired of playing nice. I'm
Yeah.
tired of playing. We need more Jasmine Crockett's. We need more AOC's. We need
Amen.
we need people who are going to actually,
Amen.
stand up and tell it how it is and not try to
Amen.
play the old political game.
Amen. Amen. At this point, ladies and gentlemen, we got to be taking this situation about being in control and having power. We got to take it very, very serious. We have a dangerous situation going on in this country. All right. And sometimes it's nice when you can just talk it out. But listen, we got 67 Americans that just lost their life
Yeah.
yesterday. As far as I'm concerned, it could be linked to the incompetence of the current administration, because I can't help but ask myself, did this happen under the Biden administration?
Well, and Zeus, I mean, you talk about the firings that have occurred within the
Mm-hmm.
last 10 days. You talk
Yeah.
about I mean, whether it's letting go of the head of the aviation committee,
Mm-hmm.
or whether it's targeting specifically TSA, whether it's
Yeah.
freezing the hiring to bring in more air traffic control. Like literally, the things that he's done has a massive impact not only on the government but practical everyday life. And I don't want to finger point. Like I know there's still a lot of things that need to be done or said or whatever, but
Right.
like the things that he's doing in a silo has a huge impact on everything. And you
That
can't make quick decisions because they have
mm,
long-term ramifications
that
just from
part.
you like quote unquote turning it off and turning it right back on.
That
The
part.
damage is done.
Yep. That part. And it's only going to get worse. Well, all right, brother. Well, listen, as always, it's a pleasure. No, Billy
Yes.
Buckeye, he's not lying. But
Yeah.
he's not lying. But listen, it's a pleasure to check in with
Listen,
you. All right.
I'll say this real quick before I get out of here, MAGA, because I know you guys are in the chat. We see you. Like we see you.
Yeah.
Hopefully some of you are brave enough to get in the box. I mean, I know you have a hard time now defending your Mango Mussolini, your Mandarin Messiah, but get in the box. At the very least, get
That
in the box
part.
and
Thank
try to
you.
explain what's happening, or at least tell us what's going to happen. Tell us how things are going to get better. Get in the
Yeah.
box. I know you
Yeah.
won't.
They want to. They want to, but they know they better sit. They better off just staying quiet right now, because there's
Yeah.
nothing that they can say to make this make sense. All right.
No, not
All
at
right.
all.
All right.
Anyways, Zeus, I'll be listening. I appreciate you, brother.
I appreciate you too. All right, ladies and gentlemen, W's in the chat for Santana Jones. No lies detected. So listen, to you Trump supporters that are getting triggered by my broadcast, it's like I said at the top of the show.
If you're not happy here, then you can leave. As far as I'm concerned, if you hate our country, if you're not happy here, you can leave. If you're not happy in the U.S., if you're complaining all the time, very simply, you can leave. You can leave right now. Come back if you want. Don't come back. It's okay too.
But if
But
you're
if you're
not
not happy,
happy
you
here,
can leave.
thank you. Thank you. So, Santana brought up a very, very good point, MAGA. Where are you at? Put a one in the chat real quick if you're a Trump supporter. I still got a little time left. All right, but I think it would be fair to at least try to get one Trump supporter up here, all right, and have a serious conversation with them, all right? So if you're a Trump supporter, put a one in the chat, and I'll bring you right on up here, all right? And we will help you figure out what's going on, all right? Because what's happening in this great country of ours, send me a guest request. Hit the multi-guest button, the pink and the blue guy. Hit that. I'll bring you right on up here. Put a one in the chat. I'll bring you right on up here. Yeah, serious conversation. I'm trying to, a lot of them know they've made a terrible, terrible mistake. Okay, you're not MAGA. Jalen, did you vote for Donald Trump? What did you do? All right. What did Trump say about the crash yesterday? It wasn't very reassuring. Ghost ride. You said you're a Trump supporter, Ghost. You're a Trump supporter. We ride, Ghost. Okay, we love God. One of you two come on up here, I guess. I don't know if you're MAGA or not, but please, who do we got right now? Ghost, you voted for Trump. Ghost Rider, you're a Trump supporter?
No, I'm not, Zeus.
Oh, okay. Well, then, I'm going to drop you down, brother, all right?
I just want to say one thing, Zeus.
What's that?
Everybody that Trump has put into office or other employments, they don't know what they're doing, Zeus.
I agree. All right. W Ghost Rider in the chat. Thank you, brother. I appreciate it. We love God. Did you vote for Trump?
Well, it's like this. I tried to because I'm abroad and because of Europe. Oh, I'm just saying. Wait, just a second. I'm gonna get up real quick. I'm 52. I'm a U.S. citizen. My father served in the military as a black man of Mississippi, a born black man. Where they said in 2020 when I tried to get back to the States to help my dad.
Yeah.
He sadly passed on the 3rd of January.
Did you vote for Trump? Ma'am, did you vote
I tried to send it over there because I understood from the German. Yeah.
So you tried to vote for Trump?
I tried to abroad, but the Germans have already killed. They unalived 2 black U.S. soldiers because they found out that the machinery in Germany was manipulated over Frankfurt. That had a lot of voters from abroad trying to get their votes to the United States. While,
but ma'am, I don't know what
being burned. Yeah,
you said you wanted to vote for him, but you didn't. I'm a little confused.
I couldn't send it because the German Post and the Germans were fighting against Trump.
I get it. Well, ma'am, I want to talk, no disrespect, but ma'am, I needed to talk to somebody who honestly voted for Donald Trump with conviction, all right? W Rose in the chat, ma'am. We'll talk again later, all right? But I want to really get to some of the issues that are going on right now. Right now, I can't speak on what the Germans did, but what I want to do is speak on what some of these executive orders, ma'am, have done to this great country of ours, all right? You tried, but all right, just don't give up, all right? Keep on trying, all right? All right. Now, again, if you voted for Donald Trump, please put a 1 in the chat. All right, we're strictly talking about what's happening yesterday in this country, and we want to get a little more information. So, and ma'am, you really shouldn't have been voting for Donald Trump. I forgot to say that. All right, Only Eddie, let's go. All right, put a 1 in the chat. Only Eddie, you got to send me a direct request. Hit the multi-guest button because I can't invite you directly. All right, let's go, ladies and gentlemen. Well, all right, there you go. Only Eddie, there you go. All right, welcome to the show. Only Eddie.
Thank you, Zeus. How are you?
I'm all right. You voted for Trump, right?
I sure did. Absolutely.
What part of the country are you in?
I'm in California, Los Angeles.
Oh, well, listen, shout out to California. That's my home state. Well, you're the bravest Trump supporter I got in the box today. We've covered a lot of territory. We've connected a lot of dots. What is it that you would like to add to this discussion right now in terms of the incompetence of the Trump administration and the harm it's causing on the American people?
Well, what I wanted to ask you was, I remember seeing you on this live all through when Trump was running against VP Harris, and I'm still seeing you here after Trump won. I still see a lot of other folks still on here, but what I can't figure out is, what is the ultimate goal? What are you trying to accomplish here? You guys lost. You're still on here. You're still trying to bash the man. And I mean, I don't know what we're going, where you guys are going with this. And it's not just you, Zeus. There's a lot of you guys.
Well, look at the chat. They say some say education, some come for entertainment, some come for the engagement. It's a little of all three, if you ask me. And then obviously, because I'm Big Zeus, Triple H, there's that factor as well. But from my point of view, sir, what we got to do is we got to save this great country of ours from the evil clutches of your dear leader. All right. And that's what it all started off to, that's what we started out doing from the very beginning. All right. Saving the country could have meant voting for Kamala Harris. All right. Saving the country could mean also standing up against this tyrant All right, and these things that he is doing that's causing a lot of harm to the American people. Honestly, saving the country is a lifelong commitment. Do you love this country, Eddie?
Absolutely, 100%.
So then you
I
would
got family
understand.
members all the way back to World War II.
Okay,
to today.
so then why would you ask a man, and this is a serious, or a woman, why are you standing up for your country? Why would you ask a question like that?
No, I'm curious because I'm wondering if you ever go to work, if you have a job. I mean,
Don't worry.
What is
Do
it?
you? Oh, okay. So now you're reaching into out of my pocket. You need to
No,
not
I'm
do
just
that.
wondering if you have a job. You know, because you're on here every single day, and I'm looking at you as a young, looking strong, looking good looking man. You know what I mean? I'm saying,
Well,
okay, this
I'm
guy's
not
gotta have a
interested.
job.
I'm not interested, Eddie, in dating
No,
you.
that's not what I'm saying. I'm just
All
looking
right.
at you saying, okay, this guy could be working.
So
but he's on
first
this
thing,
way every single day.
So first things first, Eddie. Number one, you're no one's father out here. So stay in your lane. Stay in your lane, champ.
I didn't mean no
Listen.
disrespect.
No. But it actually is disrespectful because unless you see
It's not
me,
just you though. There's a lot.
Listen,
There's a lot of
hey,
folks
Eddie.
out there every day that don't go to work.
Hey, Eddie. You think you know a lot, but honestly, you don't. How
Is
can
this
I know?
your
How
job,
can
dude?
how can I verify you're working, Eddie?
I'm actually driving right now. I'm delivering some product.
Oh my God, Eddie, you're driving and on TikTok at the same time,
Yeah,
Eddie. Oh my
I'm
God,
driving.
I gotta drop you, bro. All right, because honestly, that's unsafe. All right, so ladies and gentlemen, this is MAGA right there. Eddie is so triggered because guess what? I'm out here getting the truth out here and behind the scenes taking care of business. I'm taking care of business, Eddie, that you would only dream of taking care of. Don't you ever in your life, Eddie, driving around in a truck somewhere doing something, God knows what, probably working for Amazon, I don't know, get into my live and ask a grown man how he's out here whipping up the work that he's whipping up. I'm not asking you for a crying dime, Eddie. You stick to doing what you do, and you let me do what I do. And so, Eddie, what I'll do is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to turn up the lake of fire for you, Eddie, because obviously this is an insecurity you have. He's driving around in his truck somewhere in L.A. How is Zeus, with all that handsomeness radiating from him, all right, through this show, how is he out here getting it like this while I'm out here struggling? Don't let your eyes deceive you, Eddie. All right, everything that glitters isn't gold, bro. Ladies and gentlemen, let's send Eddie straight to hell.
Silence, you MAGA demon.
Hey, Eddie, I got something to say to you, bro.
You're either stupid or you hate the country. You're either stupid or you hate the country.
Yeah. Eddie, this has to be the most insane thing I've heard all week long. A grown man getting on my platform asking me how I'm doing what I'm doing. Bro. Man, I got so many things going on, Eddie. If you really knew about it, you go, woo! That boy is out here cooking and doing it, and he's making it look so easy. Yeah, Eddie, this might be the case, Eddie. I just might be better than you. You ever thought about that, Eddie? A black guy just might be better than you. Yeah. And you thought, oh, if I go and vote for this guy, that'll put me above Zeus. And you started to see it didn't work, huh? It didn't work, Eddie. Oh, because you know a lot of them, ladies and gentlemen, quiet as it is kept, they said this: I can't wait for Donald Trump to become president because that'll be the end of Zeus. This is what they said. That'll be the end of him because this is all he does. And then they go, oh, the app disappeared. Zeus disappeared, but then it came back and Zeus, he's back like he never left. Eddie, I'll give you another trick. I'll give you another clue, Eddie. Before TikTok, there was a person named Zeus. I was before TikTok, I was out here doing whatever it is that I do. All right, so you got to understand that dynamic is still at play, Eddie. And then TikTok came, and I said, you know what? I don't mind giving a couple hours of my day to stand up for my country, and that's what I'm doing. That's what it was always about. And this was before when we only had 10 people in the live. So Eddie, I'd hate to bust your bubble, bro. This what you see right now is actually the product of a lot of hard work. W Rick in the chat. It's just the product of a lot of hard work. And so Eddie, what you really should be saying is, Darn it, Zeus, that's very impressive. You've demonstrated something I didn't know could be possible. You're a black man and you're handsome and you work hard. Why is that so difficult, Eddie, for you to understand? Oh, because Eddie thinks all black people are lazy. W Zeus in the chat. As a matter of fact, Eddie, now that I think about it, what you did was very racist. It was very racist. You don't think black people can be successful at anything, huh? And so you're driving around and you're feeling miserable and you decide to come up here and talk to Big Zeus. Yeah, and this is, as far as I'm concerned, Eddie, this is a version of work, all right? Make no mistake. When I'm not doing this, you should see what I'm doing behind the scenes, stimulating this muscle right up here, you know, making sure I could get out here and be on top of my game. W Zeus in the chat. All right, Let me go back to the box, ladies and gentlemen. Oh my goodness, I have my good friend Val. Val, welcome to the show.
What's up, Zeus?
Hey, not much. Just another day out here, you know, trying to, you know, sift through and hopefully see if we can strike gold somewhere. But we're having a hard time when it comes to MAGA. You know that. What about you?
Doing good. Hey, Eddie, they're not going to pick you.
Oh, W, Val. That is hilarious, Val. You always have those zingers ready to go. It's like you keep it on your hip, all right?
Yeah, it just grows. the thing is when somebody comes up and asks that question, why are y'all still here? Why are you still doing what you're doing?
Yeah.
You know what?
What's that?
This is the monogram we keep talking about of people that think this is some type of sports game. You know, they think at the election it ended. You know, guys, politics affects your life.
That part.
24 hours a day, 365 days a year, every day that you're going to be.
Thank you. Thank you. W Val in the chat. Preach. Tell them, Val, because they don't get it. They don't get it.
And when we have events like we've had over the last 10, 12 days, whatever it's been, seems like a lifetime.
Yeah.
The you know, when we have events like we're seeing right now that are destroying social norms in this country, that are destroying help for the people that actually need it in this country, that are policy, in this case, I ain't going to say policy. The power, the abuse of the power of the pen that is affecting and in the end through research and a lot of things, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That we're going to find out will probably be what created events that we saw last night.
That part.
And these are the things that people do not understand. When you drive down the road, somebody responsible for the road that you're driving on. It's no different in the air. The skies. There's people that are responsible for those roads and making sure that patterns are flowing normally in both the air and on the roads. And when that is disrupted, don't think that is the first problem. Don't think last night is the first issue we're going to see like this.
You know, ooh, Val is preaching right now.
Okay, we're going to see more issues like this.
Yeah.
We're going to see civil unrest. We're going to see a lot of things that we have not seen in most of our lifetimes. That is where we're headed, people. And if you don't get it, you don't understand what's actually going on, and you don't pay attention, and you continue to think this is some type of football game.
Oh my God. Oh, it said the live got flagged again. I got flagged. Please continue, Val. We're going to ride it out. You know what that means, though. Please continue.
Yeah, I just don't understand why y'all people can't move and look at what's really going on. Look at policies. Understand that for everything we do in this country, there's someone behind it.
Yes. And does it matter if they're woke or DEI, Val? Because it seems to me, and I'm being very upfront about it, they don't understand that their support that they've been getting for the past 4 years, there's a good chance it may have came from folks that were woke or DEI. They don't get that.
No. I mean, what happened to the, we keep using the words woke and DEI and things like that. Whatever just happened to ideas? Whatever happened to just people going, hey, I have an idea. Let's talk about it. Let's move forward. Let's clear up the idea.
Yeah.
And let's push it forward. And then if there's a problem with the idea, we'll address it.
Right.
That is how our government actually used to work.
Right.
Okay, it didn't matter what side of the aisle you were on. If you had a good idea,
right,
there's a limit, guys. When that limit comes at the cost of the people of this country, which is what you're seeing right now, and it's going to get worse. I mean, y'all are complaining about egg prices. Y'all are complaining about gas prices. Y'all are complaining. That's what you've done for the last 3 years.
Yeah.
Or 4 years. Complain about all these prices without one time going to look to see maybe why are the prices high? Why did what is H5N1? What is, what I'm saying? What are creating the issues that we are having? And how do we need to work on ourselves to address these issues? Because if you think coming up here trying to argue for a felon that cares nothing about you, cares about the pockets in his pants.
Talk to him, Val.
More than he does you. You don't get it.
You don't get it.
Because when people start losing jobs because of what this man has put forth, and it's coming, and it's already started, when these things get bigger and bigger and bigger, you're going to start to realize, what could I have done? But I know what the question's going to be when you come up here next. You're going to go, well, Trump didn't do it. This is something Biden did earlier in his career that did this. No. No.
No, we're not accepting that. We're not going to accept that as an answer. He just said he's taken complete control of the government, and he's gotten rid of DEI and woke. So this is all on him now, right?
Oh yeah, it is 100% on him. And when you let go the head of the Aviation Commission, what's the first thing that happens after you let go of the head of the Aviation Commission?
Tell him, Val.
Last night, it didn't even take 3 days. Experience people what they do in their jobs is important.
But they didn't pass his loyalty test, Val. They didn't pass.
It's not how it works.
Oh.
We can't do loyalty tests in this country. We need to be loyal to one thing, the laws. Okay? If you understand, if you're not loyal to the laws, you're breaking the law. Now I want you to think about that statement and what you just put in office.
Yeah. Yeah. What do you think about him rescinding the executive order and then still saying that, the freeze is still there? I mean, what do you think about that? Because, when it initially occurred, his supporters were going, well, he's not doing anything that's giving, it's not harming people that are getting direct support. Could you at least help them understand that there's a such thing as called indirect, perhaps, and that, that executive order is going to indirectly and then perhaps directly impact them in a way.
Right, because you create confusion in the system. And that's what's happening in the states. Guys, do you think it's just blue state governors that are raising hell about this? It's not. It's red state governors. It's red state people that work in these offices. They are not sure what is going on. They're not sure why their systems aren't doing what they're supposed to do. They're not, you know what I'm saying? They're not sure what they can and cannot do when it comes to the funds. They're not, you know what I'm saying? And this creates chaos. And you can't have a governmental system in chaos.
Yeah. And that's exactly what we got right now. That's the flight going down. That's chaos.
Do you think it affects that man sitting behind in the White House? Do you think it affects Elon Musk? Do you think it affects any of the senators or congressmen or any of the Supreme Court justices? Okay, it doesn't. It affects the people. When you create chaos from above, you're going to affect everything below.
Amen. You hear that, Taurus? You hear what he's saying? All you Trump supporters. Val normally charges $10,000 for these courses, MAGA, and you get on this live and you're not listening, you're not valuing the information. This is very serious. Sorry,
Yeah.
Val.
Yeah, no, it's absolutely, you're not wrong. I mean, it's just, imagine trying to run a company. Any company, doesn't matter. Say you have 100 employees.
Right.
Say the boss, y'all have been doing the same thing for years, been very successful. You know what I'm saying? You keep moving forward, you keep things done. You have your failures and your successes.
Right.
Okay. It's just what, you know what I'm saying? But in the end, you're successful, you're making money, you're doing it, you know what I'm saying? You're doing the right things. And then all of a sudden the boss goes, we're going to break the one thing, the one policy that we've had in place since the beginning, and take that one policy, run it all the way down, all the way to the bottom person, say it's broke, with no clarification of what you're going to do next.
Right.
And watch what happens.
A recipe for disaster. That's what that sounds like to me. And there's going to be a lot of what they call unintended consequences, right?
Right. And you don't even know. We don't even know what all those are. Would I like to be up here and tell you what all the unintended consequences of the things he's doing right now are?
No.
I'd love to, but I can tell you right now, there's going to be things happen that none of us ever even thought of.
That part. Because, I was talking to the guy yesterday, Lee. I said, what can Donald Trump do to make you stop supporting him? And Lee was a Christian. And he said nothing. So I had to help him understand
that conversation.
Yeah. So obviously, Lee, if he can't do nothing, then Donald Trump basically has became Jesus to you, right? And so he had a hard time understanding that. But, now we wake up the next day and 67 Americans no longer on this planet. All right. And the question now goes, well, which agencies are involved with this situation, right? So the FAA, this is led by a Trump appointee, right? Sean Duffy. And it involved a military helicopter. Isn't that under Pete Hegseth?
That would be, yes.
Yeah. So, and then they report up to Donald J. Trump himself, who just went on record and just said he has complete and total control over the government. So in terms of figuring out what's going on, we're going to have to start with those agencies.
Well, you got to take that statement right there, the statement you just said. Complete and total control over the government. I want everybody down here to think about that statement for a minute.
Edward, please listen.
Yeah. What are you saying when you say I've got complete and total control of the government as a man?
The buck stops with me. If it's
Well,
on
it
my
ain't even the buck stops here. I mean, the buck stops here just means I'm responsible.
Yeah. There you
Okay.
go. Yeah.
The thing is what you're saying is I am controlling the government. AKA is one man dictator. Okay. Our Constitution is very clear, people. Very clear.
There you go.
There is 3 co-equal branches of government. Listen to what I said. Co-equal. The House and the Senate or the Congress.
Yep.
One co-equal branch of government.
Yep.
The Supreme Court is one co-equal branch of government. And the executive branch is one co-equal branch of government. They are all supposed to work together. There should not be the word I or me. It should be we.
Yeah, that's a good point. But he's already getting us conditioned to think of it in that way. You know what I mean? That's why he says it like that. I see what he's doing.
That's all I really have to say. I'm a little perturbed.
Don't worry. We got to keep getting the truth out there, bro. And as always, it's a pleasure to have you, take time out of your busy life to share your wisdom and your knowledge and your expertise with us. All right. Hopefully some of these demons wake up.
I think it's coming quick.
All right. W's
Thank
in the
you,
chat
Steve.
for Val. W's in the chat for Val. Let's see. It looks like Trump is speaking right now. Oh my gosh. What does that mean? Oh my goodness. What is he saying, ladies and gentlemen? Oh my goodness. What do we got going on? Hold on.
Thank you very much.
Hold on real quick.
I speak to you this morning in an hour of anguish for our nation. Just before 9 p.m. last night, an American Airlines regional jet carrying 60 passengers and 4 crew collided with an Army Black Hawk helicopter carrying 3 military service members over the Potomac River in Washington, D.C., while on final approach to Reagan National Airport. Both aircraft crashed instantly and were immediately submerged into the icy waters of the Potomac. Real tragedy. The massive search and rescue mission was underway throughout the night, leveraging every asset at our disposal, and I have to say the local, state, federal, military, including the United States Coast Guard in particular, they've done a phenomenal job. So quick, so fast, it was mobilized immediately. The work has now shifted to a recovery mission. Sadly, there are no survivors. This was a dark and excruciating night in our nation's capital and in our nation's history, and a tragedy of terrible proportions. As one nation, we grieve for every precious soul that has been taken from us so suddenly, and we are a country of really, we are in mourning. This has really shaken a lot of people, including people very sadly from other nations who were on the flight. For the family members back in Wichita, Kansas, here in Washington, sorry about that.
I'm going to a different audio.
Aboard the passenger jet, we can only begin to imagine the agony that you're all feeling. Nothing worse. On behalf of the First Lady, myself, and 340 million Americans, our hearts are shattered alongside yours, and our prayers are with you now and in the days to come. We'll be working very, very diligently in the days to come. We're here for you to wipe away the tears and to offer you our devotion, our love, and our support. There's great support. In moments like this, the differences between Americans fade to nothing compared to the bonds of affection and loyalty that unite us all, both as Americans and even as nations. We are one family, and today we are all heartbroken. We're all searching for answers. That icy Potomac was a cold, cold night, cold water. We're all overcome with the grief for many who have so tragically perished, will no longer be with us. Together we take solace in the knowledge that their journey ended not in the cold waters of the Potomac, but in the warm embrace of a loving God. We do not know what led to this crash, but we have some very strong opinions and ideas, and I think we'll probably state those opinions now. Because over the years I've watched as things like this happen, and they say, well, we're always investigating, and then the investigation 3 years later, they announce it. We think we have some pretty good ideas. But we'll find out how this disaster occurred, and we'll ensure that nothing like this ever happens again. The FAA and the NTSB and the U.S. military will be carrying out a systematic and comprehensive investigation. Our new Secretary of Transportation, Sean Duffy, his second day on the job when that happened. It's a rough one. We'll be working tirelessly. He's a great gentleman. The whole group these are great people, and they are working tirelessly to figure out exactly what happened. We will state certain opinions, however. I'm also immediately appointing an acting commissioner to the FAA, Christopher Rocheleau, a 22-year veteran of the agency, highly respected. Christopher, thank you very much. Appreciate it. We must have only the highest standards for those who work in our aviation system. I changed the Obama standards from very mediocre at best to extraordinary. You remember that.
Really?
Only the highest aptitude, they have to be the highest intellect and psychologically superior people were allowed to qualify for air traffic controllers. That was not so prior to
Really?
getting there. When I arrived in 2016, I made that change very early on because I always felt this was a job that, and other jobs too, but this was a job that had to be superior intelligence, and we didn't really have that, and we had it. And then when I left office and Biden took over, he changed them back to lower than ever before. I put safety first. Obama, Biden, and the Democrats put poor. I put safety first. Obama, Biden, and the Democrats put policy first. And they put politics at a level that nobody's ever seen, because this was the lowest level. Their policy was horrible, and their politics was even worse. So as you know, last week, long before the crash, I signed an executive order restoring our highest standards for air traffic controllers and other important jobs throughout the country. So it was very interesting. About a week ago, almost upon entering office, I signed something last week that was an executive order, very powerful, on restoring the highest standards of air traffic controllers and others, by the way. Then my administration will set the highest possible bar for aviation safety. We have to have our smartest people. It doesn't matter what they look like, how they speak, who they are. It matters intellect, talent, the word talent. You have to be talented, naturally talented geniuses. You can't have regular people doing that job. They won't be able to do it. But we'll restore faith in American air travel. I'll have more to say about that. I do want to point out that various articles that appeared prior to my entering office, and here's one. The FAA's diversity push includes focus on hiring people with severe intellectual and psychiatric disabilities. That is amazing. And then it says FAA says people with severe disabilities are most underrepresented segment of the workforce, and they want them in, and they want them, they can be air traffic controllers. I don't think so. This was on January 14th, so that was a week before I entered office. They put a big push to put diversity into the FAA's program.
Wow.
Then another article, the Federal Aviation Administration, this was before I got to office, recently, second term.
Wow.
The FAA is actively recruiting workers who suffer severe intellectual disabilities, psychiatric problems, and other mental and physical conditions under a diversity and inclusion hiring initiative spelled out on the agency's website. Can you imagine? These are people that are, I mean, actually their lives are shortened because of the stress that they have.
Wow.
Brilliant people have to be in those positions, and their lives are actually shortened, very substantially shortened, because of the stress, where you have many, many planes coming into one target. And
One target?
You need a very special talent and a very special genius to be able to do it. Targeted disabilities are those disabilities that the federal government, as a matter of policy, has identified for special emphasis in recruitment and hiring. The FAA's website states they include hearing, vision, missing extremities, partial paralysis, complete paralysis, epilepsy, severe intellectual disability, psychiatric disability, and dwarfism, all qualify for the position of a controller of airplanes pouring into our country, pouring into a little spot, a little dot on the map, a little runway. The initiative is part of the FAA's Diversity and Inclusion Hiring Plan. Think of that. The initiative is part of the FAA's Diversity and Inclusion Hiring Plan, which says diversity is integral to achieving FAA's mission of ensuring safe and efficient travel. I don't think so. I think it's just the opposite. The FAA website shows that the agency's guidance on diversity hiring were last updated on March 23rd of 22. They wanted to make it even more so. And then I came in, and I assume maybe this is the reason. The FAA, which is overseen by Secretary Pete Buttigieg,
Wow.
A real winner. That guy's a real winner. Do you know how badly everything's run since he's run this Department of Transportation? He's a disaster. He was a disaster as a mayor. He ran his city into the ground, and he's a disaster now. He's just got a good line of bullshit. The Department of Transportation, his government agency charged with regulating civil aviation. Well, he runs it, 45,000 people, and he's run it right into the ground with his diversity. So I had to say that it's terrible. Then it's a group within the FAA, another story, determined that the workforce was too white, that they had concerted efforts to get the administration to change that and to change it immediately. This was in the Obama administration just prior to my getting there. And we took care of African Americans, Hispanic Americans. We took care of everybody at levels that nobody's ever seen before. It's one of the reasons I won. But they actually came out with a directive, too white. And we want the people that are competent. Wow. But now we mourn and we pray and would like to ask all Americans to join me in a moment of silence as we ask God to watch over those who have lost their lives and bring comfort to the loved ones. And I just want to say God bless everyone in this room. This has been a terrible, very short period of time. Wow. We'll get to the bottom of it. So we all saw the same thing. We've seen it many times. I've had the honor of hearing tapes. Tapes are scary, very scary tapes. You had a airliner coming in, American Airlines. He was doing everything right. He was on track. He was the same track as everybody else that came in. It's probably the same track as they've had for 25 years or more. He's coming in the path. And for some reason, he had a helicopter that was at the same height, obviously when they hit, but pretty much the same height, and going at an angle that was unbelievably bad. When the air traffic controller said, "Do you see?" You know, he was talking about, "Do you see him?" But there was very little time left when that was stated. And then also he said, "Follow him in." And then almost immediately after that, seconds after that, there was the crash that took place. Wow. Well, you follow him in, that means like everything's fine. Follow him in.
Wow.
You had a pilot problem from the standpoint of the helicopter. I mean, because it was visual. It was a very clear night. It was cold but clear, and clear as you could be. The American Airlines plane had lights blazing. They had all of their landing lights on.
Wow.
I could see it from the Kennedy Center tape. We had a tape up on the Kennedy Center. That seems to be the primary. Thus far, I'm sure we'll see other tapes because it's such an area where there are a lot of cameras looking up into the air, into space. So we'll probably see many other shots of it before too much time goes by. But we had a situation where you had a helicopter that had the ability to stop. I have helicopters. You can stop a helicopter very quickly.
What?
It had the ability to go up or down. It had the ability to turn. And the turn it made was not the correct turn, obviously. It did somewhat the opposite of what it was told. We don't know that would have been the difference because the timing was so tight. It was so little. There was so little time to think. But what you did have is you had vision. The helicopter had vision of the plane because you had vision of it all the way, perfect vision of it all the way from at Kennedy Center where the tape was taken. And for some reason, there weren't adjustments made. Again, you could have slowed down the helicopter substantially. You could have stopped the helicopter. You could have gone up. You could have gone down. You could have gone straight up, straight down. You could have turned. You could have done a million different maneuvers. For some reason, it just kept going and then made a slight turn at the very end, and by that time it was too late. They shouldn't have been at the same height, because if it was at the same height, you could have gone under it or over it, and nobody realized, or they didn't say that it's at the same height. at the same height, still wouldn't have been great, but you would have missed it by quite a bit. Could have been 1,000 feet higher, it could have been 200 feet lower, but it was exactly at the same height, and somebody should have been able to point that out. So all of this is going to be studied, but it just seems to me, from a couple of words that I like to use, the words common sense, some really bad things happened, and some things happened that shouldn't have happened. So you had a helicopter going in an identical direction. You had a helicopter that was at the exact same height as somebody going in essentially the opposite direction. You had a plane that was following a track, which is a track that every other plane followed.
What?
And I don't imagine, I know I've heard today that they might have been following the preceding plane, which was pretty close, but not that close.
This is a disaster.
The preceding plane, but you wouldn't have even been able to see that because of the direction that the helicopter was coming in at. So you had a confluence of bad decisions that were made, and you have people that lost their lives, violently lost their lives. We're going to take a few questions. I'd like to ask our new Secretary of Transportation to say a few words.
This is a disaster.
Great gentleman, just started. It's not your fault, and I know you agree with me.
This is COVID all over again.
And even psychological well-being.
Now we're going to get to his experts.
Air traffic control. It's such an important position, and I think I can emphasize stronger. I changed it when I first ran in 2016. I changed it. We had the highest standard that you could have, and then they changed it back. That was Biden to a standard I read it to you. That was from one of your papers. One of the people in this room actually wrote that. And then I changed it back a few days ago. And unfortunately, that was, we'll see. We don't know that necessarily it's even the controller's fault. But one thing we do know, there was a lot of vision, and people should have been able to see that, at what point do you stop? At what point do you say, wow, that plane's getting a little bit close? So this is a tragedy that should not have happened. Please.
Oh, it's like Dr. Fauci and Deborah Birx all over again with Mike
Thank you,
Pence.
Mr. President. And I would just note the President's leadership has been remarkable during this crisis. We've had a whole of government response, local, state, federal, and when you see that kind of cooperation, it begins with the leadership in this body. So thank you for that, Mr. President. You make our jobs a lot easier. You made an important point that when we deal with safety, we can only accept the best and the brightest in positions of safety that impact the lives of our loved ones, our family members. And I think you make a really important point on that, Mr. President. That is the motto of your presidency.
I get it now.
The best and the brightest. The most intelligent coming into these spaces. I want to take a moment and extend my condolences to the families of the loved ones. We commit to them that we are going to get to the bottom of this investigation, not in 3 years, not in 4 years, but as quickly as possible, with the NTSB, who is here today, as well as the FAA. What happened yesterday shouldn't have happened. It should not have happened. And when Americans take off in airplanes, they should expect to land at their destination. That didn't happen yesterday. That's not acceptable. And so we will not accept excuses. We will not accept passing the buck. We are going to take responsibility at the Department of Transportation and the FAA to make sure we have the reforms that have been dictated by President Trump in place to make sure that these mistakes do not happen again. And again, I want to thank you for your leadership, Mr. President, and I appreciate the confidence you placed in me. Thank you.
Pete would like to say something.
Pete Hegseth, ladies and gentlemen, now he's going to weigh in on this.
Well, thank you, Mr. President. Again, I want to echo what the Transportation Secretary said about your leadership. From the moment we found out about this, we were in contact with the White House trying to determine exactly what happened. I would echo it as well. No excuses. We're going to get to the bottom of this. We first and foremost, from the Defense Department, want to pass our condolences to the 64 souls and their families that were affected by this. Never should happen. And certainly the 3 service members, the 3 soldiers, a young captain, staff sergeant, and CW2, Chief Warrant Officer. On a routine annual retraining of night flights on a standard corridor for a continuity of government mission. The military does dangerous things, it does routine things on the regular basis. Tragically, last night, a mistake was made. And I think the president is right. There was some sort of an elevation issue that we have immediately begun investigating at the DoD and Army level. Army CID is on the ground investigating. Top tier aviation assets inside the DoD are investigating, sir, to get to the bottom of it so that it does not happen again, because it's absolutely unacceptable. But I want to echo what the Transportation Secretary and you, Mr. President, said, because it pertains to the DoD as well. We will have the best and brightest in every position possible. As you said in your inaugural, it is colorblind and merit-based. The best leaders possible, whether it's flying Black Hawks and flying airplanes, leading platoons, or in government. The era of DEI is gone at the Defense Department, and we need the best and brightest, whether it's in our air traffic control, or whether it's in our generals, or whether it's throughout government. So thank you for your leadership and courage on that, sir, and we'll stand by you on that. Thank you very much.
JD, please.
Oh, JD Vance.
Thank you, Mr. President, for your leadership. I just want to reemphasize something the President said, and you've heard from the Secretary of Transportation and of Defense. There really was a whole of government response. We were all on the phone. We were all communicating yesterday, trying to get to the bottom of this immediately, but also try to communicate with the American people about what happened. Something the President said that I think bears reemphasizing, which is that when you don't have the best standards in who you're hiring, it means on the one hand you're not getting the best people in government, but on the other hand it puts stresses on the people who are already there. And I think that is a core part of what President Trump is going to bring and has already brought to Washington, D.C. is we want to hire the best people because we want the best people at air traffic control, and we want to make sure we have enough people at air traffic control who are actually competent to do the job. If you go back to just some of the headlines over the past 10 years, you have many hundreds of people suing the government because they would like to be air traffic controllers, but they were turned away because of the color of their skin. That policy ends under Donald Trump's leadership because safety is the first priority of our aviation industry. Thank you, Mr. President.
Ooh, this is a disaster.
On DEI and the claims that you've made, are you saying this crash was somehow caused and the result of diversity hiring? And what evidence have you seen to support these claims?
It just could have been. We have a high standard. We've had a much higher standard than anybody else. And there are things where you have to go by brain power, you have to go by psychological quality. And psychological quality is a very important element of it. These are various very powerful tests that we put to use, and they were terminated by Biden. And Biden went by a standard that's the exact opposite. So we don't know, but we do know that you had two planes at the same level. You had a helicopter and a plane. That shouldn't have happened. And we'll see. We're going to look into that. We're going to see. But certainly for an air traffic controller, we want the brightest, the smartest, the sharpest. We want somebody that's psychologically superior. And that's what we're going to have. Yeah. Yeah, please, go ahead.
Mr. President, you mentioned at the top of the briefing that there were several Russian nationals on the flight.
Yes.
Will the U.S. government be willing to facilitate the transfer of their remains, considering the fact there is no direct air travel between the two countries?
We've already been in contact with Russia, and the answer is yes, we will facilitate. Yes. Please, go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. President. The situation in the Democratic Republic of the Congo is getting worse, even though President John Lorenzo has been mediating the conflict between Rwanda and the Democratic Republic of the Congo because he wants to bring peace and stability. The situation is really bad right now. I want to hear from Ms. President if you have any plan in the future to bring peace in the Democratic Republic of the Congo.
You're asking me a question about Rwanda, and it is a very serious problem. I agree, but I don't think it's appropriate right now to talk about it, but it is a very serious problem.
We don't even yet know the names of the 67 people who were killed, and you are blaming Democrats and DEI policies and air traffic control and seemingly the member of the U.S. military who was flying that Black Hawk helicopter. Don't you think you're getting ahead of the investigation right now?
No, I don't think so at all. I don't think with the names of the people, you mean the names of the people that are on the plane, you think that's going to make a difference?
Does it cover their families?
They are a group of people that have lost their lives.
If you want a list of the names, we can give you that. We'll be giving that very soon. We're in coordination with American Airlines. We're in coordination very strongly, obviously, with the military. But I think that's not a very smart question. I'm surprised coming from you. Please.
Thank you, President Trump. Thank you for being here. Based on your analysis so far, do you have a sense of who is at fault, if it was the plane, the helicopter, air traffic control, and can you assure people that it is safe to fly in and out of D.C.?
Well, I've given you the analysis, and the analysis was it was based on vision. You had a lot of people that saw what was happening. You had some people that knew what was happening. There was some warnings, but the warnings were given very, very late. Those warnings were given very late. It was almost as they were given. A few seconds later, there was the crash. It should have been brought up earlier. But the people in the helicopter should have seen where they were going. I can't imagine people with 20/20 vision not seeing, what's happening up there. Again, they shouldn't have been at the same height. You're going in reverse directions or sideways directions. Obviously, you want to be at different heights. I see it all the time when I'm flying. You have planes going in the opposite. They're always lower. We're higher. So if somehow there's a screw up, there's not going to be a tragedy. It'll be close. But, there's never going to be a tragedy if you're at a different elevation. For whatever reason, they were at the same elevation. And also, from the American Airlines Center, he's along the track that every plane is along. You say, what was the helicopter doing in that track? It's very sad. But visually, somebody should have been able to see and taken that helicopter out of play, and they should have been at a different height.
Thank you, sir. You mentioned the Russians that were on board that plane. What other nationalities were on board that passenger?
There were a couple of others. We're going to be announcing it in about an hour. We have some very specific information. We're calling the countries. We've spoken to most of them, but there were some other countries represented.
Spoken to President Putin?
I have not, no. Not about this.
On your executive order, you've already issued an executive order you say will restore aviation safety.
Right.
This crash happened after that. Was the executive order successful, and what more needs to change to keep people safe?
Well, we issued it 3 days ago, and we're in the process of making those changes. This is something that should have been done a long time ago. Actually, my original order should have never been changed, and I think maybe you wouldn't have had this problem. Maybe. Yeah, please, go ahead.
Yes, thank you. We see everyday life that very often those diversity hires cause sometimes issues, as you just mentioned. So what plan do you have? Are we going to see some fire? Are you going to fire some of those diversity hires in the federal government? What plan do you have?
I would say the answer is yes. If we find that people aren't mentally competent, you see the language. The language is put out by them. And if you see that, I'm not going to bore you by reading it again, but these are not people that should be doing this particular job. They'd be very good for certain jobs, but not people that should be doing this particular job.
Wow.
Mr. President, you have today blamed the diversity elements, but then told us that you weren't sure that the controllers made any mistake. You then said perhaps the helicopter pilots were the ones who made the mistake.
It's all under investigation.
I understand that. That's why I'm trying to figure out how you can come to the conclusion right now that diversity had something to do with this crash.
Because I have common sense. Okay? And unfortunately, a lot of people don't. Wow. We want brilliant people doing this. This is a major chess game at the highest level. When you have 60 planes coming in during a short period of time, and they're all coming in different directions, and you're dealing with very high-level computer work and very complex computers. And one of the other things I will tell you is that the systems that were built, I was going to rebuild the entire system, and then we had an election that didn't turn out the way it should have. But they didn't build the systems properly. They spent a lot of money renovating a system, spending much more money than they would have spent if they bought a new system for air traffic controllers, meaning the computerized systems. There are certain companies that do a very good job. They didn't use those companies. They used companies that should not have been doing it. No, I think it's very important to understand that for some jobs, and not only this, but air traffic controllers, they have to be at the highest level of genius. Okay.
I want to ask you about the ice skaters in a moment because the U.S. ice skating community was affected. But first, if I can, the cited FAA text that you read is real, but the implication that this policy is new or that it stems from efforts that began under President Biden or the Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg is demonstrably false. It's been on the FAA's website. No, it's on the website, the FAA's website. It was there in 2013. It was there for the entirety.
What I read.
It was there for the entirety of your administration too. So my question is, why didn't you change the policy during your first administration?
I did change it. I changed the Obama policy, and we had a very good policy. And then Biden came in, and he changed it. And then when I came in 2 days, 3 days ago, I signed a new order bringing it to the highest level of intelligence. Okay.
It's on the website.
Please. Quiet.
Thank you, Mr. Welcome back to the. I'm sorry. You mentioned that a vision was probably the problem that was at issue in this crash. There's been some reports that one of the pilots in the helicopter may have been using night vision equipment. Was there any?
I heard that. We don't know. We're going to know that pretty soon. It may change your viewplane if you do have the night vision. So it's very possible that could have happened. That would be maybe a reason why you wouldn't actually see as well as on a clear night. You can see sometimes better without it. Had a couple of more.
Is it helpful to have your Secretary of Transportation confirmed, and does this intensify your interest in getting other nominees confirmed quickly? Is it helpful to have your Secretary of Transportation confirmed, and does this intensify your interest in getting other nominees confirmed quickly as well?
Well, sure. We want fast confirmations, and the Democrats, as you know, are doing everything they can to delay them. They've taken too long. We're struggling to get very good people that everybody knows are going to be confirmed, but we're struggling to get them out faster. We want them out faster. It's a good question, actually. We've been pushing Sean. Everyone knows Sean for a long time. He got many, many Democrat votes, but they want to take as long as they can. They ask questions like some of the questions that Peter would ask that were totally irrelevant and not very good questions, but they want to just keep it going. They want to keep it going as long as possible. I was very honored, actually, that you got so many Democrat votes. That was really good. That was really good.
When I try to meet with the families, and second question, is it your impression that military training that was done during that time?
The what?
The training that the helicopter was involved in. Is it anything you can tell us about
You don't know. These are the things that will come up with the investigation. You don't know, but the helicopter obviously was in the wrong place at the wrong time, and a tragedy occurred. Please.
I've got a question about the...
No, go ahead, please.
Thank you, Mr. President. You've been critical of the current regulations, and you've called for big reforms at FAA. I'm curious, sir,
I made the reforms, actually.
What is your message?
3 days ago, I made them.
Yes, sir. What is your message then to the American public in the weeks and months ahead? Should they feel hesitant to fly? And if you could clarify perhaps something that the Defense Secretary said when he said that this helicopter went on a continuity of government mission?
I don't know what that refers to, but they were practicing. They do that. They call it practicing, and they were, and that's something that should be done. It's only continuity in the sense that we want to have very good people, and that has to be in continuity, and that's what they refer to. But it was basically practice, and it was a practice that worked out very, very badly.
Lord have mercy. On his question, the first question, should people be hesitant to fly right now?
No, not at all. I've not hesitated to fly. This is something that it's been many years that something like this has happened, and the collision is just something that we don't expect ever to happen again. We are going to have the highest level people. We've already hired some of the people that you've already hired for that position long before we knew about this. I mean, long before. From the time I came in, we started going out and getting the best people because I said it's not appropriate what they're doing. I think it's a tremendous mistake. You know, they like to do things and they like to take them too far, and this is sometimes what ends up happening. Now, with that, I'm not blaming the controller. I'm saying there are things that you could question, like the height of the helicopter, the height of the plane being at the same level, going in opposite directions. It's not a positive. But no, we're already hiring people. No, flying is very safe. We have the safest flying anywhere in the world, and we'll keep it that way. Thank you all very much. Thank you very much.
Wow. Oh, Lord have mercy. All right, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, my gosh. Oh, my gosh. Did we just witness that, ladies and gentlemen? Oh, my goodness. I just wanted to say some of the things that I wrote down. It looks to me like he's trying to hide the fact that there could be staffing shortages due to his executive orders, attacking the DEI. That's exactly what it sounds like. He said they're colorblind and it's all merit-based. We know that's a lie. He said the era of DEI is gone. That's what Pete Higgs said. And they kept focusing on having the best hiring standards. So as far as I'm concerned, this is a cover-up. This speaks to them trying to cover up what the issue is. It seems like to me they got rid of a lot of valuable people that were working there, and that has became the conversation behind the scenes. And so what we're seeing is a bit of a this is them trying to hide the fact that his executive orders have contributed to this. And then he went as far as to blame Barack Obama. That was crazy, right? He blamed Obama and Joe Biden. They're not in control, sir. Yesterday you just said you took full control of the government. But then, we had that COVID moment. Did you hear the COVID moment, during the pandemic? He said something about, you could just hit the body with the light, right? You remember that? And he said, and maybe inject yourself with the disinfectant. You remember when he did that? Well, today, what did he say? He said brain power and psychological power. That's how he knows. Ladies and gentlemen, congratulations, MAGA. He said that he knows it's DEI because guess what he has? He has common sense. I mean, who would have thought that's a thing? But Donald Trump seems to believe he has common sense, and that's how he knows this is tied to diversity. Ladies and gentlemen, we are heading towards a very, very dark and dangerous place. And to all of you who just said, Zeus, don't make it political, now you see why we had to do this live, right? We had to do the live today because it has obviously, we knew Trump was going to turn it into a political thing. And it's not going to work. We all know Donald Trump and his incompetent administration are completely responsible for this, all right? And so that's just how the cookie crumbles. Now, ladies and gentlemen, what's going on? Oh, my gosh, look at the time. Zeus, unfortunately, ladies and gentlemen, has to get up out of here. I know. I got to get up out of here. But you know what? I want you all to know I truly appreciate it. I stayed a lot later than I expected, but you know what? This is very serious. But if anything, ladies and gentlemen, I think we've learned something very, very important. MAGA, you're going to be held accountable for everything that has been tied to this incident and every single other incident that occurs. And you can try to sit here and say the Democrats are making it political all you want. We're not. We just know who your cult leader is. He's going to turn every failure into a political thing, and he's going to always try to blame the Democrats and Joe Biden and Obama. And I was surprised he didn't go to Bill Clinton and George Bush because he has no ability to take accountability. All right. And so with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, you know what we got to do? We got to get up out of here. I want to give you all a round of applause. You all deserve a round of applause for hanging out with me this late. All right. If I didn't get to talk to you today, doesn't mean I don't love you. It just means I got to get up out of here. All right. Because guess what? This is probably one of the most exciting, engaging, and entertaining shows on TikTok. All right. And again, thank you to all of you who have subscribed and sent support. All right. In one way, shape, or form. All right. I truly, truly appreciate it. But you know what else I got to do? I got to give these Zeus haters out here, and they're not just my haters, they're also your haters, one last round of booze and shame. Congratulations, ladies and gentlemen. You are all witnessing the destruction of the United States of America at the hands of your dear leader. You'll be continuing to suffer like you've never suffered in your life, and your excuses of blaming Barack Obama, Joe Biden, and the Democrats, they're not going to work. We see right through that. This is the result of complete and utter incompetence. Everything that's happening in this country right now, you got a tuberculosis outbreak going on out there in Kansas. I heard about that. The Medicaid website getting shut down, and then all of a sudden they figured out how to get it back up. And then the recent incident with the airplane. we're going to go ahead and say that's the direct result of getting rid of DEI and woke and basically slimming the organization down to the place where it's basically being ran on a shoestring budget. And many of us know that's a recipe for disaster. So let's give these Zeus haters, ladies and gentlemen, one last round of, you guessed it, booze and shame.
Silence!
All right, ladies and gentlemen, take care and stay safe out there in those TikTok streets. Don't do nothing I wouldn't do. I gotta get out of here. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. What a show. You guys take care. W Zeus in the chat. Thank you, Hannah. Thank you, Tiffany, for the people. Jay, I love you. I love every single one of you. But we're not going to let Donald Trump, we're not going to let the Trump administration get in control of this narrative with this situation. You are the president. This happened under your watch. And you can try to make all those excuses about the helicopter. I don't buy it. We don't buy it. No, we don't, ladies and gentlemen. Now you are an expert at military training. Oh, and it was too high, it was too low. You have common sense? Well, common sense should have told you don't pass those executive orders. W Zeus in the chat. Let's go ahead and connect those dots. Hey! You gotta be able to connect the dots, because if you can't connect the dots, we're in a lot of trouble. Take care, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, the Trump administration is crumbling right now. Right, Ange, W. Ange. You saw they had to walk back that hiring freeze. I mean, not that hiring freeze, but freezing the federal grants and the loans. They had to walk that back. So that means he had to give up, which means the Democrats took some territory, right? Right, ladies and gentlemen? And now this, W. Ange. Thank you, Ange. You're welcome, ladies and gentlemen. And now this right here, this is literally a repeat of his response to the pandemic. You remember how that looked, right? Connect the dots. Let's go, right? I could have swore I saw Mike Pence, Anthony Fauci, Deborah Birx, and it was the same thing all over again. And we know how that turned out, right? Hey, you won't be woke, but you will be broke. Sorry, Mom. I mean, we went a little late, but you get what's going on over here. Somebody has to hold these people accountable. Hey, DJ, you've been mighty quiet the entire live, DJ. And I think that's a good sign. You're starting to realize. Congratulations. You played yourself, bro. Right, Shay? Right, Queen, please? Thank you, everyone. We gotta keep standing up for our country. And so, Eddie, you're driving around in that truck. How much more time you got left, bro? You get off at what time? 4 or 5 o'clock? Oh my gosh! All right, you know we got to get it out our systems. All right, and it's the drill, baby drill. Craig, are you still here?
Fracking very much. Look, they always go back.
We'll still do the drill, baby drill, because you know it's a good song. It's a good song.
She's a radical.
Hey, Dave.
Left
Are you out there, Dave, driving in that truck?
But we're going to end that, and we will frack,
Dave,
and drill, baby.
I'm still drill, baby drill. All right, Dave. So you got to work on that, right, Ange?
We're going to be drilling so deep.
Right, Tiffany, for the people.
These guys, we're going to drill. We're going to take back so much money. We're going to pay down our debt.
Shout out to the late great Hannibal Lecter, by the way.
Insane asylums. You know, they go crazy when I say the late great Hannibal Lecter. Drill, baby, drill. We're going to frack. Drill, what's a frack.
Hey, don't the Democrats make it look so good, ladies and gentlemen? We took Drill Baby Drill from him, right? And we made it a real hit. And all of a sudden, yeah. Say it with me now. She said, I like fracking very much. Look, they always go back to what they want. They always do. She can't help it. She's a radical. can't help it. And we're gonna end that. And we will frack, 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 and drill, baby, drill. Right, Q Dog? So deep. So much money, we're gonna pay down our debt, we're gonna lower your taxes deep. Insane asylums, you know they go crazy when I say the late great Hannibal. Drill, baby, drill, we're gonna frack, frack. The late great Hannibal Lecter at that, right? Like it's Hannibal Lecter. Hey! Like it's Hannibal Lecter.
Insane asylums. You know, they go crazy when I say the late great Hannibal Lecter. Okay, they say, why would he mention Hannibal Lecter?
We're gonna lower your taxes.
That part.
Deep insane asylums.
Ooh,
you know they go crazy when I say the late great Hannibal. Drill, 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 baby, drill, gonna fry, fry.
Hey!
Drill like it's Hannibal Lecter. Drill, baby, drill.
Let's go, ladies and gentlemen. Lower your taxes. Deep insane asylums. You know they go crazy when I say the late great Hannibal.
Drill, 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 baby, drill.
Come on, ladies and gentlemen, you know the words. Hannibal Lecter time. Drill, baby, drill like it's Hannibal Lecter time. We're gonna lower your taxes. Deep insane asylums. You know they go crazy when I say the late great Hannibal. All right, ladies and gentlemen, you know what we just did. That's what you call a rap. All right, that's what you call drill, baby, drill. All right, and again, congratulations, MAGA, you played yourself. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm out of here. Take care and stay safe out here in these TikTok streets. Don't do nothing I wouldn't do.